Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your very favorite D-lister and pharaoh of physical media. That's right, me, Robert Meyer, Burnett. You know, it's just great to be on any list. D-list, A-list, doesn't matter. D-lists can be just as good as A-lists, depending on, well, how much you drink. Anyway, it's great to be here. It's Let's Get Physical Media episode 188? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're here. And it also matters that one very special man is here. You know who he is. He's beaming in all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, Mr. Dieter Bastian.
Well, Rob, that certainly was a disappointment to read in the comments that you're not even a D-lister. And here I thought I had my chance over going through the observatory to Hollywood. And now I'm recognize you're not even a D-lister anymore. But I thought about it, and
I love that I once was a D-lister.
Yeah. But I thought, no, Rob is actually a G-lister because he knows all the alien G-spots. And I say, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Peter here. Here I am, rocky like Erican, and welcome to the B&B Motel for Let's Get Physical Media, where we, of course, physical media is the heart and center of the show, but we talk entertainment stuff. Emilia Perez in hot waters this week, probably 0 wins, 30 nominations. That would be Academy Award history in the making. And Rob, your companion, Roy Lee, has a new movie out called Companion, which is opening this week in the States, and it's opening in Germany next week. But I had fortunately luck that it did a preview screening yesterday, and I saw it too. And I think, Rob, we will get into the movie at the end of the show because we don't want to spoil anything considering Companion. We will talk at the end of the show a little bit about Companion, and the people who will still stay with us can stay, and everyone else who still wants to see the movie, spoiler-free, should perhaps then jump off the show. So, Rob, and the question is, did Companion had a little bit of a walk-in through word of mouth at the box office?
Well, we let's just take a quick gander at that. The Dogman cometh with the second best January opening for an animated picture with $36 million. And then it says, why didn't Companion find more friends at the weekend box office? Because it was horribly marketed. One of the most fun movies I've seen in a theater in a long time, horribly marketed. Dogman made money. People didn't like it. That's what I heard. So what are you going to do? I don't know. But 36 million, not bad. Not bad at all. I don't know what to say. New Lens Companion got a B+ cinema score. B+, a high mark for horror on the grading scale, with solid 4 stars on Post-Track, is arriving within its tracking estimate of 8 to 10 million, with 9.5 million after a $4 million Friday. The horror pick cost under $10 million, and I'm told with its economics, it's in a position to profit. Women under 25 who showed up, under 25 who showed up at 17% gave the Drew Hancock directed and written movie a 91% grade. Men over 25 at 37% gave it 80%. Women over 25 graded it 85, and men under 25 rated the pick 14%. Come on. 68% of the audience is between 18 to 34. So, you know what? What can you do? With social media universe around 170 million, Relish Mix says that Companion's reach across X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook was 4% under other first installment horror movies. The Boys' Jack Quaid is the one star in the movie who activated on social with 2.3 million, while Thatcher counts 500,000 followers. Now, I got to tell you, dude, I don't know if you saw, but I left a review on Instagram of Companion.
Yeah, I saw that.
I came out of the theater,
review.
and do you know who saw my Instagram review?
No.
Mr. Jack Quaid himself.
Oh.
And he responded to my review.
Nice.
And I have to get the picture of how he responded. But yeah, it was a pretty enthusiastic. I was jumping up and down when I came out of the theater. I was very, very excited. And just because, I had read the script for a companion. And I thought the script was...
Was it 1-to-1, Rob, or were there changes?
No, it was pretty much exactly the script that I read, and it was a terrific adaptation. I mean, because Drew Hancock, I think it's Drew Hancock, who wrote and directed it. He's also writing the new version of The Faculty. So Jack Quaid said this on. He posted my review. He reposted my review, and he wrote, "I don't know who this man is, but I love him, and I would die for him." Thank you, Jack Quaid. I love you, and I would die for you too. And I love the boys. And just thank you for that. Here, I have the picture. I'll pull it up. So hey,
of course,
I might be a D-lister. But Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son, Jack Quaid, would die for me. What do you have? Have?
Exactly.
One of the boys will die for me.
We both can say that we are fans of Sophie Thatcher way before everyone else, because I don't know if you remember, one of my first gifts to you was actually The Prospect 4K media book.
I know, and that's where I really first saw her.
Yeah, she was terrific in Prospect. It was the first movie that I saw her in.
Oh yeah, she was
a little sci-fi gem.
Yeah, total. Prospect is great.
Yeah,
loved it.
Awesome. Do you have some other box office?
Am I supposed to get other box office?
Just
first of all, here, read this and weep, buddy. Look at that.
Yeah,
Jack Quaid. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Quaid giving me the love on social media, as he should, because I certainly gave his movie the love.
Yeah.
So, what can I say? But that's pretty cool. And the star of the movie. This is one of those movies where I think that, not to oversell it, but this movie is so much fun to watch, especially if you don't know much about it, because you didn't know anything about it.
No.
And
as always, Rob, I stayed away from any trailers, even from the YouTube reviews that were already out there. I was thinking, I could just click here on Mark Kermit. Mark Kermit was totally loved the movie because he, like me, didn't know anything. I knew a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know what I really liked about it is it's like when I was reading the script. I'll tell you, producer Roy Lee sent me the script. That's how I got the script to read. And I don't know who works for that guy, but he gets the best scripts. Like every time he sent me a script, for the most part, I'd say they're in the 99th percentile of scripts. And it, like he produced Boy Kills World.
Yeah.
And even though, and again, that's another example of these great movies that should have big marketing campaigns behind them because they deliver. And, I was so excited. There was only like 5 of us in the theater. And we were literally hooting and hollering and laughing out loud. And it was, and I'm going to be honest, I had a large glass of wine and a beer with me when I went into the companion. And I went by myself, and it was so much fun to watch. And by the way, it's a big widescreen movie. We saw it in this huge. I went to see it. I didn't know it was playing in our big. We have the Cine XL theater that's kind of like the equivalent of Dolby. It's a huge theater. I did not buy tickets for that theater. I was going to the 10 o'clock show. I kind of rolled in there at like 9:40, and I went to get beverages, and I was at the bar, and the guy recognized me. He recognized me from our shows and from the John Campea show and stuff, and he goes, "Hey man, do you know you're going to the 10 o'clock show? You should go to the 9:45 show. It starts in 5 minutes." So I just went and switched my ticket. I didn't know it was at CineX. I don't know why I didn't know that. And it's a Friday night, and it was 9:45, and the theater. There was a lot of people seeing the animated Dogman, and I was sitting in the theater, and I was just like, God, this movie deserved, like when a Friday the 13th movie would open when I was a kid, I would go to the town cinema in downtown Seattle, where I saw Poltergeist in 70mm, and I saw the Manitou there. But I would go see every Friday the 13th movie that opened because it's in downtown Seattle, and it had, let's call it an urban audience, call it that, packed. And when you go to a Friday the 13th movie, I wanted a call and response audience. I wanted a boisterous and loud audience, because that's what you want in a Friday the 13th movie. And the town cinema and the audience there never disappointed. And I was sitting in this movie theater, and we, the 5 of us in the theater, we're having the best time. But we're all, we have this, and so everybody's sitting way far away from each other. And I kind of felt like I should have asked. I'm like, hey, you guys, because I'm older now and I can't get away with this. If I was in my 20s, I would say, why don't we all come down here and let's sit close by? I feel I'm the creepy old guy if I do that now. I can't get away. But I was thinking, I might have been able to muster it up if I had been drinking before I saw the movie. But it was so much fun. And I think that the marketing, everyone's trying to market movies like they're fucking long legs or something when it comes to horror movies. And the first trailer for Companion I thought was really, really good. But they should have built on it or gone with the word of mouth campaign. I heard from people. I have a letter, actually, now that I think about it. I have a letter about Companion. Well, I'll read it later because we're going to talk about it later in the show.
Yeah, and later I will tell you how I would have marketed the movie.
Yeah, let's get back to
it played in yesterday here in my multiplex at the largest screen too yesterday, which was strange considering the size of the movie.
Well, they're obviously paying to get the movie in those theaters, it really made me angry because here's the thing: nobody in Hollywood knows how to do their jobs anymore. I think that we now live in a world where people want to do the least amount of work to get paid. And that's not what this should be about. We need innovation. We need smart people. We need people that are excited to do their jobs. And I think in Hollywood, that's part of the problem with the industry. But I'm going to get into that later on Observations. Yeah. Mufasa has now made $229.5 million domestic.
Okay.
One of Them Days, which I've actually heard is pretty good, is up to a total of $34 million. It made $6 million this weekend. Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg that Mel Gibson directed in week 2 is up to $20.9 million. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is up to domestically it made $3.22 million this weekend. It's up to $230.5 million, which is a great result for that. Moana made almost another $3 million. It's now topped out at $453.8 million domestic, and it's on PVOD now after a healthy 62-day window. So that's good. A Complete Unknown is up to $66.7 million. That's got to be a good result for them for a biopic. The Brutalist made $1.86 million for a total of $12.1 million. Not bad for a 3.5-hour movie. And your favorite title, Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, is made $34.4 million. And they have a third chapter.
They're doing a third one, Rob. They're planning on doing a third one.
Yeah, I know. It's already been greenlit and Presence. Steven Soderbergh's movie. It's up to $5.88 million, which it's not huge, but it's not horrible. Interesting, but Companion.
Yeah, but perhaps Rob, word of mouth will carry the movie further. Let's see next week.
I hope so.
After the first weekend.
Now,
Luckily, it wasn't that expensive.
Have you been? Are you on Twitter?
No, Rob, I'm not.
X.
Wieso?
You know who is on Twitter? You know who is?
Check wait.
No, Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
And you know what Clint Eastwood tweeted out yesterday?
About the new 4Ks coming from
Look at that. Clint, this is true, by the way. It's not Clint Eastwood, it's one of his social media people. But this has got to be a first. Clint Eastwood tweeted out about the new versions of the Man with No Name trilogy, which, by the way, before anybody asks, they are, yes, UK only. So you have to have a multi-region player if you want to play the Blu-ray stuff. Okay. Yeah, they're probably because Kino has the rights for domestic. Yeah. But this is what Clint Eastwood said. The Dollars trilogy is set to be reissued in limited edition 4K format. A Fistful of Dollars is scheduled for release on April 21st, 2025, followed by For a Few Dollars More, which is anticipated to be available on May 26th, 2025. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is expected to be released on June 23rd, 2025. This will be an independent UK release. You know, with the Malpazzo movies coming out, Clint Eastwood's going to be all over social media in 2025. Probably they're going to jack up the prices because now that we have tariffs on Mexico, where the replication facility is at, we might see man. And tariffs. We're in a trade war with Canada. I mean, Justin Trudeau is jacking up. I mean, if you had asked me if we would be in a trade war on February 2nd with Canada, if you'd asked me this in December, I would have said, "What? What? No." Here we are.
Do I pay tariff taxes enough already for my?
Well, yeah, it's all those tariffs. I just don't understand. I mean, Project 2025. It's happening. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. So at least they're honest.
Okay, we hold to their word.
I don't know how I talked to Bill Hunt about this last night. I said, "Do you think he didn't really know?" Okay. And I'm like, does that mean they're going to build a replication facility in the United States? I mean, the Mexico facility is apparently having QC issues. A lot of the discs there have problems because there's not enough replication. I mean, it's whatever. It's very, very frustrating. Living is very frustrating these days for us physical media people.
What can you do, Rob? Should we show some physical media, Rob?
Sure.
Who starts?
Go ahead. By the way, you go ahead.
First up, stuff that Rob already showed probably from KINO-LORBER, the first one. From Shamhammer, I got The Visit.
Yep.
In 4K.
In 4K.
Which was a little bit of a comeback movie for him.
It was
different cover artwork.
It was a Blumhouse special.
Until he did Trap, nice comedy. Then Rob showed it last week. Reindeer Games,
and both versions are on there.
Both versions, yeah. But the director's cut is only
on Blu-ray.
Only Blu-ray. Yeah. And Rob showed it. One of my favorite '80s classics, April Fool's Day, in 4K, and the Blu-ray, and I think actually a lot of special features concerning interviews. And I think I saw. I even don't know if the movie actually is on the Blu-ray because it just says special features on the second disc. But I would assume the movie is on there too. And strangely enough, Rob, it says ABC. So it's actually code-free, the Blu-ray, if that is correct. So those were the three KINO-LORBER titles. Rob already showed the Steelbook versions, but I got the other one to show because I think the slipcovers are pretty shiny, Rob. Pretty shiny for the Quentin Tarantino movies. Here's the Jackie Brown one for it. So, reversible cover, but the slips are very, very shiny, Rob. Very shiny. Jackie Brown, 4K and Blu-ray. And the two Kill Bills. First one. So I think even the slipcovers, you don't want to go for the steelbooks. Them nice. One. And number two.
Yeah, those are cool.
Which I love. Really love the cover artwork for Kill Bill. And yesterday, on Saturday, because I only have seen it once in the theater. Yesterday was actually my second watch. I've got from movie, finally, The Substance, Rob. Totally great. Loved it the second time around. Do you got it too, Rob?
It's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, Dietz, because I did.
Yeah. Nice. And it's a little bit disappointing considering the extras, only a 2-minute featurette. So hopefully down the line there will be some more or better versions come out. But the question, Rob, was which one is the 4K? Margaret or Demi? And which one is the 4K?
I don't
Margaret,
know.
of course. Margaret, of course, is the 4K, which is fitting considering the movie.
That's you know what? I didn't notice that. That's pretty clever. That Margaret's the 4K.
Just to take from my end, Rob.
That's pretty good.
Margaret is the 4K. The old egg is just good for Blu-ray.
Yep.
First of all, for me.
Okay, would you like a little bit of a history lesson?
Certainly, Rob.
Okay,
you can always teach me stuff.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson.
Yeah.
Because it is Black History Month, this is Oscar Devereux Micheaux. He lived from January 2nd, 1884 to March 25th, 1951. He was an American author, film director, and independent producer of more than 44 films. Although the short-lived Lincoln Motion Picture Company was the first movie company owned and controlled by black filmmakers, Micheaux is regarded as the first major African-American feature filmmaker, a prominent producer of race films, and has been described as the most successful African-American filmmaker of the first half of the 20th century. He produced both silent films and sound films. Micheaux was born on a farm in Metropolis, Illinois, on January 2nd, 1884. He was the fifth child born to Calvin S. and Belle Micheaux, who had a total of 13 children. In his later years, Micheaux added an E to his last name. His father was born into slavery in Kentucky. Because of his surname, his father's family appears to have been enslaved by French-descended settlers. French Huguenot refugees had settled in Virginia in 1700, and their descendants took slaves west when they migrated into Kentucky after the American Revolutionary War. In his later years, Micheaux wrote about the social oppression he experienced as a young boy. His parents moved to the city so that the children could receive a better education. Micheaux attended a well-established school for several years before the family eventually ran into money trouble and was forced to return to the farm. The discontented Micheaux became rebellious, and his struggles caused problems within his family. His father was not happy with him and sent him away to do marketing in the city. Micheaux found pleasure in this job because he was able to speak to many new people and learn social skills that he would later reflect in his films. When Micheaux was 17 years old, he moved to Chicago to live with his older brother, then working as a waiter. Micheaux became dissatisfied with what he viewed as his brother's way of living, the good life. He rented his own place and found work in the stockyards, which he found difficult. He moved from the stockyards to the steel mills, holding down many different jobs. After being swindled out of $2 by an employment agency, Micheaux decided to become his own boss. His first business was a shoeshine stand, which he set up at a wealthy African-American barbershop away from Chicago competition. He learned the basic strategies of business and started to save money. He became a Pullman porter on all major railroads, at the time considered prestigious employment for African Americans because it was relatively stable, well-paid, and secure, and it enabled travel and interaction with new people. This job was an informal education for Micheaux. He profited financially and also gained contacts and knowledge about the world through traveling, as well as a greater understanding for business. When he left the position, he'd seen much of the United States. He had a couple of $1,000s saved in his bank account, and he made a number of connections with wealthy white people who helped his future endeavors. Micheaux moved to Gregory County, South Dakota, where he bought land and worked as a homesteader. This experience inspired his first novels and films. His neighbors on the frontier were predominantly blue-collar whites. Some recall that Micheaux rarely sat at a table with his blue-collar white neighbors. Micheaux's years as a homesteader allowed him to learn more about the human relations in farming, and while farming, Micheaux wrote articles and submitted them to the press. The Chicago Defender published one of his earliest articles. His homestead failed, and he was forced to sell it in 1911. The next year, he began his publishing career when Woodruff Press of Lincoln, Nebraska published The Conquest. He began work on a second book, The Forged Note, from 1914 to 1918, and traveled among Lincoln, Gregory County, and Sioux County, Iowa, marketing his work. While in Sioux County, he lived in and was influenced by the West 7th Street neighborhood, where the town's African-American community had a strong presence. Micheaux decided to concentrate on writing and eventually filmmaking, a new industry. He wrote 7 novels. In 1913, 1,000 copies of his first book, The Conquest, The Story of a Negro Pioneer, were printed. He published the book anonymously for unknown reasons. He based it on his experiences as a homesteader and the failure of his first marriage, and it was largely autobiographical. Although character names have been changed, the protagonist is named Oscar Devereaux. His theme was about African Americans realizing their potential and succeeding in areas where they had not felt they could. The book outlines the difference between city lifestyles of Negroes and the life he decided to lead as the lone Negro out on the far West as a pioneer. He discusses the culture of doers who want to accomplish and those who see themselves as victims of injustice and hopelessness and who do not want to try and succeed, but instead like to pretend to be successful while living the city lifestyle in poverty. A lot of things haven't changed. He'd become frustrated with getting some numbers of his race to populate the frontier and make something of themselves with real work and property investment. He wrote more than 100 letters to fellow Negroes in the East, beckoning them to come west, but only his older brother eventually took his advice. One of Micheaux's fundamental beliefs was that hard work and enterprise would make any person rise to respect and prominence, no matter his or her race. In his 1918 novel, The Homesteader, dedicated to his mother, attracted the attention of George Johnson, the manager of the Lincoln Motion Picture Company in Los Angeles. After Johnson offered to make The Homesteader into a new feature film, negotiations and paperwork became inharmonious. Micheaux wanted to be directly involved in the adaptation of his book as a movie, but Johnson resisted and never produced the film. Instead, Micheaux founded the Micheaux Film and Book Company of Sioux City. Its first project was a production of The Homesteader as a feature film. Micheaux had a major career as a film producer and director. He produced more than 40 films, which drew audiences throughout the U.S., as well as internationally. Micheaux contacted wealthy academic connections from his earlier career as a porter and sold stock for his company at $75 to $100 a share. Micheaux hired actors and actresses and decided to have the premiere in Chicago. The film and Micheaux received high praise from film critics. One article credited Micheaux with a historic breakthrough, a credible, dignified achievement. Some members of the Chicago clergy criticized the film as libelous. Of course they did. The Homesteader became known as Micheaux's breakout film. It helped him become widely known as a writer and a filmmaker. In addition to writing and directing his own films, Micheaux also adapted the works of different writers for his silent pictures. Many of his films were open, blunt, and thought-provoking regarding certain racial issues of the time. He once commented, "It is only by presenting those portions of the race portrayed in my pictures in the light and background of their true state that we can raise our people to greater heights." Financial hardships during the Great Depression eventually made it impossible for Micheaux to keep producing films, and he returned to writing. Now, Dieter, you're probably wondering, why have I chosen to read this? Just because it was Black History Month? First of all, I had never heard of this gentleman before. I had never heard of him.
Okay.
But in my
Got one of his
KINO-LORBER box,
Yeah.
in my KINO-LORBER box of this week, KINO-LORBER put out a documentary on Oscar Micheaux.
Oh, okay.
And this filmmaker, a documentary, and not to be outdone, a box set of his movies. Oscar Micheaux, the complete collection. And I had never heard of this guy. And first of all, I got to give a massive shout out to Kino for I mean, you know what's really funny about Kino? Whoever decides when they're going to release things, they're always, I mean, this is coming out at the beginning of Black History Month. They have a box set of his movies and a documentary coming out at the same time. They're thinking over there. You know, I know we're always making jokes. How can they afford to stay in business and all that with all the stuff they put out? But this, I mean, I'm really excited to delve into. I knew nothing of this man. And, you know, it's hard to find something that I don't know much about. I mean, I at least know something. I know this is from an era, but
when are those movies, Rob?
These are from the first one. It's 1920 through 1939.
Okay.
So they started out as silence, and then they go into and it's a 5-disc set, and there are shorts and features, and some are color, and most are black and white. It says color, maybe they're color tinted. Okay. And
so the question is, Rob, do you watch the doc first or the movies?
You know what? I think I'm going to watch the doc first because I'd like to go in with more context. And knowing, what I found so interesting about Mr. Micheaux here is that, you know, he was really critical of his own people, Black America, you know, and that was, I found that interesting. And I want to see how, like, let's have an unboxing. I'm going to open this up and see first of all, it's got a cool slipcase. And I think they did this in conjunction with MoMA. By the way, I love this cover. What a great cover. So was this guy the Tyler Perry of his day? I don't know. But there's a booklet in here, and there's the complete collection of his movies. Let's see how many are. Let's see, one, two, three. Wow, there's a lot of movies. There's. I hate when the multiple discs, the containers break. There's got to be. There's a movie in here called Murder in Harlem. There must be 20 movies in here.
Yeah.
So, although the case is broken, but that's all right. What can you do? You can't have everything. But, you know, shout out to Kino for broadening my education and putting this out at once, putting both of these out so I can have an Oscar Micheaux weekend and delve into the man's work. Very, very cool. So thank you, KINO-LORBER. Good box. And then a couple other shows. I think this is Master Crimes, where criminals get schooled. I think was this another French TV series? I don't know. And then a film called The Other Widow, which I know nothing about. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. And then film noir, The Darker Side of Cinema 23, their box set.
Ooh.
And in this we have Never Love a Stranger, Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye. Oh, I've actually seen Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye. And Rope of Sand. Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye is Cagney. I've seen that. So that's cool. That's always a good thing. And then a wacky bunch of stuff. Paul Schrader's new movie, Oh Canada, with Richard Gere, that I haven't seen, but I love Paul Schrader.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Complete
Got
new
that.
movie. Okay.
Yeah, it's a brand new movie.
Okay.
The Woody Allen classic that we started when we were making Free Enterprise. This was our big inspiration, was Play It Again, Sam. Great to have that on Blu-ray. The John Cusack movie, Hot Pursuit.
Ooh,
another
nice.
80s, I don't know if you call it a classic. John Candy's Summer Rental. And Ken Russell working with Teresa Russell, the movie Whore.
Oh, yeah.
Which I bought that from Imprint. Sorry, I have that. And then this is awesome. 2 spaghetti western classics, Enzo Castellari and Sergio Corbucci, which Quentin Tarantino uses both in whatchamacallit, in Inglourious Bastards and in The Names, and in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So it's a double feature. Gotta love it. And you know who does audio commentary on this? You don't, because I haven't told you yet. But Alex Cox, the director of Repo Man. So
nice.
I know, right? So this was a very, very eclectic box from Kino this week. Really excited about it. There's more, but I'll show that later. They sent me some 4Ks as well. So I'm gonna see. You know what? I'm gonna see if this Spaghetti Western Classics has reversible cover. It might not, but let's see, shall we? Oh, and you know what I just realized? Oh, this is This is in 4K. These are in 4K. It doesn't say It doesn't say 4K on the box. You know?
Okay.
But it is. Both of these are in 4K. And nope, they don't have a reversible sleeve. But that's okay, because it's more exciting when you open it up and it's a 4K disc. So here you go. So this is they're pulling out all the stops on this. The Hellbenders and Kill Them and Come Back Alone. Chuck Connors. Yep. And by the way, Enzo Castellari directed the original The Inglourious Bastards. You know, there's a movie called The Inglourious Bastards before. Yeah. So anyway. So there you go. That's my first haul.
Awesome. Yeah. I think we have people sending in super.
Are there? Let's see. What do people have to say? We have Joe the Lawyer says, Rob, I picked up Almost Famous Amazon special edition box set for Christmas for $300, and it's awesome. The Almost Famous is one of my favorite movies. I'm just, I'm gonna throw that out there. It really is. So that's very cool. Major Chai Chai says, I'm seeing Companion in IMAX at the 420 showing today. Are you going to blaze up first?
Ooh,
only
nice.
3 other people have purchased tickets. God, only 300. Oh man, only 3 people purchased tickets. Damn Fool Idealistic Crusader helped with the new Dollars releases, so the audio will be the original mixes. Well, that's cool. 200 Watt Studio says, have you given Section 31 another shot? You know what, 200 Watt Studio, you know what my answer to that is? Have you given To Live and Die in L.A. another shot? Huh.
That was a nice comeback, Rob.
You like that? You like that? Verdidario sends in a super chat, but doesn't say anything. So a new member, okay. Blue Rock 1701, became an imagination connoisseur.
Nice.
No, 200 Watt Studio. I'm never giving Section 31. You know what's really sad? I never thought that there would
and
come
not even time, Rob. Not even time.
I never thought there would be a time
you
where
said everything that you wanted to say on Versus on Film Club.
No, it's true. But I never thought that there would be a time when there would be Star Trek product that I wouldn't buy. Like, I don't own Discovery. I might buy the Lower Decks box set of the Steelbooks, maybe. But, yeah, it's sad. Very, 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 very sad.
And even Section 31 is coming out in 4K.
Yeah, and Picard Season 3 didn't.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Bizarre. Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do? I don't know. So, yeah, that's it. That's where we're at, buddy.
Yeah. Kirk just in the live chat asked me what T-shirt is Steeds wearing. Kung Fu Fury. I'm wearing. The little snippet, because I will get back to that in the live chat later. And Rob, one that I saw digitally, I caught up with it finally. I watched Baby Girl. Not bad. A little bit of a, I would say, better 50 Shades. And I think it was perhaps not far enough even. It was a little bit, for my taste, a little bit tame, I would say. Would have gone even further, but not a bad movie, but a little bit outside of mainstream, I would say. So tough one. I would say 7 out of 10 for me for Baby Girl. Certainly a courage performance from Micheaux.
Yeah,
there in Baby Girl.
Did it make you want to drink milk?
I loved Harlan Rayner's Bodies. So I was really interested to see what she came up with here.
Did Baby Girl make you want to drink milk?
Not particularly, but I'm drinking milk anyway here and there. So I'm good on that front, Rob.
By the way, Hitchhiker 42, who's been a member of the channel for 20 months, says, Hey, all, it's Groundhog Day again. Looking forward to the long kiss goodnight from Arrow. See, people are always harsh in the news section.
Yeah, I read it.
Looking forward to the long.
It was for me. For me, it was the important news.
I know that I have it all prepared.
Yeah.
We'll get to it again. Looking forward to the long kiss goodnight from Arrow. Already pre-ordered along with the limited edition of scanners. Speaking of pre-orders, I got shipping notices from Arrow. They sent me Life Force. They sent me Life Force
nice.
and 310. I always call it 310 to Yuma County, but it's not 310 to Yuma County. But they sent me there. You know, Life Force. The reason
You
I
mean
want
this one, Rob?
God damn it! You have it before me. God damn it.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Which comes with the cover.
By the way, I had that poster.
Reminiscent of Riddick.
Oh, I had that poster. That's the British Life Force poster. Not that one. That one. And I had it in my dorm room at Evergreen, and people who saw it like, that's misogynistic. I'm like, no, it's not. It's awesome.
Correct. And like we talked about, it is the first time we get the international cut.
Yeah, well, that's the highlight. The international version of Life Force is far superior. I don't even watch the theatrical version. There's no reason to. Yeah. And
it comes, of course, with a little booklet. And the card. And we did find out through the comments, Rob, that we actually could switch out the Arrow cover and get the original cover.
I didn't even look. You know why I didn't look? Because I thought, okay, we already have those are the two covers.
Yeah, we have two covers, and I didn't look either, Rob. And then I thought, hey, great.
I wrote back. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. Good for us.
Yeah. Because when you had a slip cover and a different cover underneath, you would think there wouldn't be a third.
By the way, did you watch the documentary of the director?
Unfortunately, not, Rob, because I want to see the movie first.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Before I dive into the.
I did this. I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
So, I already own Life Force, Rob.
Yeah.
And I forgot one thing to say, Rob. Importantly, German dubbing is already on those discs. I have no idea why, because the Blu-ray is not region free. But if you want to hear it into German dubbing, there's options you can. Strangely enough. So I got Life Force already.
Nice. Well, that's good.
So,
200 Watt Studio says that harshing the news section was the original title of The Daily Show. Well, everyone's harshing my news section. That's why I wanted to lead with Clint Eastwood's tweet.
And I did my homework, Rob, because you said homework. Get back to me next week after you have seen photo from Takeshi Miike. And Takeshi doesn't let me down. I never saw this movie. Really nice one. Comes, of course, uncut. But people don't expect 4K quality. Who knows Takeshi Miike's early works like Ichi? The picture quality was always...
Well, that movie looks like it's shot on video or something.
Not that it's shot on video, Rob, but this looks not like 4K. But I'm just hoping this is, since I never owned the movie, this is the best version.
Yeah, it's better than it looked when I first saw it.
Okay, Rob, that's all I need to know. And there's stuff in it you wouldn't see in other movies. That's certainly true. When I was thinking, okay, we involve kids here. Yeah, okay, no problem with Takeshi Miike.
No, dude, Fudo was the first movie I saw of his, and my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, I thought, oh, cool, a kid gangster movie. Is it going to be like Bugsy Malone? No.
And strangely, Rob, I didn't dive into a deep research. It always felt to me that it was a translation from a manga, but it is not a manga, as far as I know. But it feels like it could be a manga. You know, manga could be the source
totally
for the movie. You know,
an R-rated or unrated manga.
And after in 2000, I think 18 or 19, Heavy Trip came out. This week I watched the sequel, Heavier Trip, Rob, and I totally think the sequel is actually I liked more than the first one. And for me, the greatest joke, Rob, was there is a band called Blood Motor in it. No fake ones. And the singer has such a deep, groveling voice that he has to inhale helium. And even with helium, he just gets his voice is still dark. But you can understand what he's saying. That was one of the funniest jokes in Heavier Trip. Totally had a good time with it. Even for me, better than Heavy Trip.
Where did that come from?
This is German.
Oh, okay.
German Blu-ray. Heavier Trip, and the first one was Heavy Trip. And all the people that were in the fictitious band in the first one are here again. So the cast is totally the same, which is a great thing considering the movie is 5 years later. Should I show the rest of my haul, Rob?
Why not? Make it happen. Flash dance that shit, son. Take your passion and make it happen.
Yeah. Considering companion, the question is maybe it's love. Asian movie? I have no idea about it. Maybe it's love.
Yes, you do. You have an idea about it.
And it comes with a booklet. It seems like a Shaw Brothers movie. At least the SB logo is on top of it. And we have a booklet.
Wow, okay.
So cat in the bag for me, Rob.
What if it turns out to not be love?
Considering those movies, that could always be the case. But maybe it's love. This afternoon, before I put my setup here, I watched this. I had 2 movies that I juggled. I know I should have watched the other one to give you feedback, but I will give you that feedback next week. And I decided to watch this Australian movie, but this is the US version. It's called Beaten to Death. Isn't that a nice title, Rob?
It's a great title.
So, unfortunately, it was not a coffee and cake movie, Rob, this afternoon. And it was pretty dour experience. I would have loved to take a shower after it and toss at least 3 cups of that nice, cool Voss water from Smile 2 in myself. So, I'm not sure at the moment where I would rate the movie. I need to think about it. But it comes with a little bit of extras, audio commentary, and it says fully uncut HD master, interview with director, and it is an Australian movie called Beaten to Death, and here's the nice slipcover.
It looks like a fine afternoon at the picture show.
Oh, totally, Rob. Totally. It was. And actually, Rob, this is the title, is the program of the movie. The next one from Eureka, 4K. I've got
that on order. That's one of my favorite horror films of all time.
That's awesome. And here we got different cover artwork beneath it. Let me just see. Here's that's what we are expecting, Rob, that underneath is the same as the slip, which it strangely wasn't, considering the cell. And we got a booklet with it from Eureka, Cure, in 4K. The next one, I was hoping to get the Steelbook from Amazon. It was pre-ordered back then. But at one point they said, no, not available anymore. We can't ship it. So I got the normal version later. One of my favorite animes when I was big into animes back in the day, Ninja Scroll, I bought from America. And it was available as a Steelbook, but I had no chance of getting it. So I went just for the normal Blu-ray version. And the movie is 4:3 because it's older one. And like I said, Rob, I will do my homework for next week. This is on my homework list feed for next week. And I will report back to you what I think about your little recommendation over the last, I don't know, month feed.
Dude, if you thought you needed to take a shower
After
if you thought you needed to take a shower after beaten to death.
Yeah.
All I can tell you, feed, I don't know.
So you said don't watch it Sunday, Deeds. Watch it over the week.
No, you know what the thing about, this is a terrible thing to say, but the thing about feed is it's really distasteful.
Okay.
No, it is distasteful, but it's just gross. But you can't look away.
I'm expecting that.
You can't look away.
Yeah.
200 Watt Studio asks if we're going to get Naked Killer on 4K. Naked Killer,
would be nice.
Naked Killer, the Hong Kong movie Naked Killer?
I hope so. That was what I was thinking, Rob.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, certainly.
That movie's dope. That movie, it's got sexy time. It's got mutilations. It's got a hot
200 Watt Studio asking that because it was under the Golden Princess.
It's a good question. I don't. Maybe.
Perhaps it wasn't the Golden Harvest movies, and it was from the same company. Perhaps.
Look, nothing. Movie. We're getting in the Fong Sai-yak. We're getting all the great Asian bangers. I mean, I wouldn't. It really depends on the elements. I don't know if the elements, because I seem to remember when Criterion was even putting out the laser discs of The Killer and Hard Boiled, that the elements were not in great shape. Because they didn't. They weren't like well kept.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, that they would probably take. I'm sure those John Woo movies will get. I mean, Hard Boiled is one of my favorite movies of all time. It really is. I mean, both of them, but Hard Boiled especially, because it's got Tony Leung in it, who's awesome. I mean, I love Hard Boiled. Everything about it.
One take scene, Rob, with all the action going on.
I know, but there's also the scene when they attack the warehouse. The dudes ride in on motorcycles. That scene is awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. But Naked Killer, I'd love to get Naked Killer in 4K.
Yeah. I remember it from the VHS set, but even then the quality was atrocious.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
So Naked Killer would be great to get.
Naked Killer would be great
because I don't think, Rob, it's even out as a Blu-ray. I don't think you can get it even as a Blu-ray.
No, because I would have gotten it. Yeah. Naked Killer rules.
Totally.
But I don't think
if that is the movie that 200 Watt Studio refers to.
But I don't think Naked Killer was directed by. It was like directed by a Norwegian or something. But in Hong Kong, if I remember, I don't remember. I'd have to look that up.
No, it wasn't a Norwegian, Rob. It was something Wong, I think. Something.
Not
Wong.
that I don't think. You know what? I'm going to use the newfangled thing called the internet.
Exactly.
Hang on a second.
Just check it.
Hang on, and I'm going to look.
Because I'm just wrong, Rob, and then I'm thinking of the producer because he did later The Naked Weapon with Micheaux, which was under that same umbrella, and there was a third naked one. The Naked Soldier.
Oh no, okay, it is. So now hang on a second. I'm thinking, okay, there is, this is the thing. There's two Naked Killers. And I was thinking, I'm mixing up. You want to hear something really interesting? So this Naked Killer, the Naked Killer there's the 1992 Naked Killer.
Yeah.
And then there's one that was done in the, that was done later. And it was done later, and it's another. Was it a remake? Okay. Because it's about another Hong Kong policeman. There's two Naked Killers.
Yeah.
And see, now I'm even more confused. 200 Watt Studio. Which one?
I'm only remembering Naked Killer, and then later Naked Weapon with Micheaux. And then the Naked Soldier that I showed some months ago, which is under that umbrella of those naked movies.
Yeah. Huh. Now I'm confused.
I didn't know that there was a remake of Naked Killer.
There's different ones.
Yeah. Who was the director yet?
See, there's the Naked Killer I'm thinking about is the cop looking for these killers, but then the other one is a young woman is trained by a martial arts specialist to become a professional assassin.
Exactly.
So there's that one, the Nikita one, but then there's the other naked killer, um, the other one from 2008
Yeah.
about a Hong Kong policeman investigating mutilation murders.
Yeah.
So which one? Which one? 200 Watt Studio. Now I need to know.
Yeah. No.
I need to know.
Hopefully the oldest one.
Yeah.
Here we have always help in the live chat from Winman42. He said, where was it? Wong Ching directed Naked Killer. Wong Ching. I know about
that's the 92 Naked Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey,
Wong Ching.
with what we're getting now, come on.
Yeah. So thank you, Winman42. I still have 2 titles left to show.
Oh, okay.
Or I can give it over to you.
No.
Second
you go right ahead.
Okay. To rebuild my moniker as Trash Panda, I bought real trash this week, Rob. And I was let down because it was not good trash. It was really, really bad. And I have to say, we Germans can't do good trash. It doesn't work. There was this other movie that I bought. Was it Sky Sharks, which was terrible? And this one, it's always strange, Rob, when you start a movie and after 2 minutes, you already know that will be tough 90 minutes. You know, like with Section 31, you know you will be in tough waters. But at least, Rob, the media book is nice. The movie is called Monster on a Plane. You have some sort of critter Kremlin mix on a plane. The movie title is self-explanatory. But I had not a good time, Rob. 0 laughs. One laugh considering the dialogue, but it was just atrocious from the look of the movie. And they have good practical effects, Rob, and then they destroy those practical effects with adding stupid CGI blood. Practical effects were good enough on itself. The only good thing about it, Rob, is actually the media book, which comes with a little comic part, which tells the prelude about the monster getting on the plane. So the media book is actually better than the movie itself was. I'm sure they had a blast doing the movie, but for me, this was torturous 90 minutes. 2 out of 10, Rob. Monster on a plane.
Well.
Unfortunately, not good. The next one I'm really looking forward to. It's a Polish film. The English title is The Peasants. The German title is, why the hell they changed it? I have no idea. The Whisper of the Fields. Rob. Das Flüstern der Felder. The Peasants is the Polish, the English title. It says it's a very visual, stunning movie, but I have not seen it. And this comes with a nice digipack with three discs. It's not a 4K. It's a Blu-ray and a DVD and the soundtrack for the movie. So this is the back for it, and it comes with some postcards. No idea. And I think it has won a lot of awards. It came out, I think, in 2023.
Cool.
The Peasants was the English title. The Whisper of the Fields, German title. Das Flüstern der Felder. My last purchase, Rob.
Nice.
This week. Okay.
We'll take it.
To you, my friend.
Let's see. Now I've got the first thing I gotta say. I know it's in the headline, but a KINO-LORBER 4K, the very last movie made by Andrei Tarkovsky. He made this when he was an expat living in Paris.
Yeah.
The Sacrifice. I put this on. This is stunning. It's got a Blu-ray with special features as well, but it looks incredible. The first time I saw this movie actually was on Laserdisc. I had the Laserdisc of this. I think I still have the Laserdisc of this. But I really like this movie a lot. It has an incredible one of the opening shot of this movie is incredible.
Is this the first time it's gotten a release on Blu-ray on 4K?
On 4K, yeah. No, it came out on Blu-ray before, but this is the 4K last Tarkovsky film. Really beautiful disc. And if you've had a hard time, this is a pretty accessible Tarkovsky film too. Like it's whenever I tell people like Solaris, obviously Stalker is a little difficult, but this is more accessible as far as Tarkovsky goes. So again, KINO-LORBER putting this out, which is fantastic. So thank you, KINO-LORBER. Also, 2 other 4K titles came from KINO-LORBER. One is Uncle Buck with John Candy. Uncle Buck, hey, do we want Uncle Buck in 4K? Well, we've got it. So Uncle Buck in 4K. And then Eric, this is
not to have it in 4K.
This is Eric Red's. This is a very bizarre horror film. Jeff Fahey starring in Eric Red, who wrote The Hitcher and Near Dark, Body Parts in 4K.
I love it.
This is
but haven't seen it since the VHS days.
Yeah, it's a really weird movie, but it's out in 4K. And Eric Red does. I thought there was. No, I guess not. I thought he did commentary. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. He does. Eric Red. Eric Red does do commentary on this, and there's a lot of special features on here actually, porting him over. But pretty cool. Pretty cool to have body parts. And then yes, which was most excellent. And then the last things I got, because you know how I love them, I got the latest Jean Rollin vampire movies, lesbian vampire movies. Now, most of these, I'm still waiting, by the way, Indicator, for my favorite. Fascination is one of my favorites, and then the Living Dead Girls, my favorite John Rollin vampire movie. But I got Requiem for a Vampire, and I got to open these up. And by the way, this one is 5,754 out of 6,000. So people are buying these. And again, I don't know. I would love to talk to somebody at Indicator and be like, okay, I like Jean Rollin vampire movies as much as the next guy, but what did they do? These are really lovingly. I mean, first of all, they come with this has the number on the back, so you got to save it. But these covers are beautiful. It's like that matte finish, slip cased covers. Can one be a virgin and a vampire in the cursed crypt? So, and you get some of the original artwork, and it's like, it is a digipack. But nice. Then they've been doing these great, really, each one has really great books. And these books are really extensive. There's a lot of pictures. A lot of great stuff in these packs. So these are highly recommended, but I can't recommend these movies to many people. I mean, I'll freely admit that. These movies are not, you can't, like, Hammer movies are more accomplished than these. And I do love them for what they are, but I can't, like, I can tell somebody to go buy Near Dark, or I could tell somebody to go buy Hammer's Vampire Circus, which is, I think, my favorite Hammer movie. These movies, not so much. And then
you can still recommend, Rob, Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person.
Yes, I can.
You can recommend that too, Rob.
And then I got this. I've never seen this. The Escapees. This is a Jean Rollin movie I have not seen. 1981. Okay. I know nothing about this. Just
the bag, Rob, because we love it. Get in the bag.
Know nothing about it. Dreamlike 1981 feature. So hey, it's all of his movies are dreamlike, fairy tale like, which is why I like them.
Yeah.
So that was my haul for the week.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there you go.
Nice. Nicely done.
Yeah.
And we have people sending in more super chats.
Let's see. Let's see what we've got. Joel the lawyer says, "Hi Rob, I just emailed you. Feel free to send me the link if you want me to show you the millions of things in the Almost Famous boxed set live." Well, maybe we could do that next week. I'd have to set that up a little earlier, but I'd love to see that. I didn't even know they put that out because I would want to get that. Almost Famous is one of my favorite movies. Blue Rock 1701 asks, "What are your top most wished for 4K and Blu-ray movies and/or TV show that has only had a DVD release and is not on demand?" For me, the TV show Millennium with Lance Henriksen and House Calls with Walter Matthau. Those are good ones. I mean,
a TV show in 4K.
Yeah, I mean, I would look. I'd love to get the Jerry Anderson stuff. I'd love to get The Prisoner. I'd love to get UFO.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great. The Blu-rays are stunning. They're absolutely stunning. But it'd be great to get those in. I'd love to get UFO in 4K. But Imprint's putting out the third UFO box set, which I'll probably get. I mean, look, I'd like to get the Star Trek: The Original Series in 4K. I don't think they're going to go back and remaster them. They'd have to retransfer those negatives again. But Millennium is a good one because you can't. It's hard to see. It's hard to view. So. Those are good. And then movie-wise, it's all the standard stuff. I really want to get Forbidden Planet in 4K. I want to get Patton in 4K. French Connection in 4K. Logan's Run, Contact, Excalibur.
Since we are now getting Rennie's Deep Blue Sea and The Longest Goodnight, the only thing that's missing is Fort Fairlane. I need Fort Fairlane.
What we need is the director's cut of Fort Fairlane.
Yeah. I know, Rob. I know.
But there's a possibility like that could happen.
That would be awesome.
The two things that I think
could that urban legend finally put to rest.
Well, there's two things. It would be nice to get the longer version of Predator 2 because they both Predator 2 and The Adventures of Fort Fairlane were kind of cut down. There's we have to make these movies shorter, which is I think stupid. Because I remember when I saw Fort Fairlane twice. I saw that advanced screening and then I went and saw it in the theater. And I remember thinking when I saw it in the theater, I didn't like it as much. And then I haven't seen the long version of Predator 2. The director Stephen was just telling me about what they had to cut and stuff. So Stephen Hopkins.
And of course, Diggy Holmes a good idea. Strange Days, of course.
Yeah. Where's Strange Days and Solaris? I mean, I'm sure we'll get them. I mean, the German Blu-ray of Strange Days is the German Blu-rays of both of those movies are really good. But why don't we have? It's so bizarre. I mean, maybe if 20th Century Fox starts putting out more stuff, and hopefully via Sony. Although if they're replicated in Mexico, we'll have to pay high tariffs on them. 200 Watt Studio says Ching Mei Yu is gorgeous. Yes, I was talking about the Cat 3 1992 film. Also, the hospital finale of Hard Boiled was very John Wick. No, John Wick was very hard boiled. Come on now, get it right. Martin Molina says, I must admit a huge regret. On my last night here in Houston, I bought tickets for a very late showing for Companion on the Samsung Onyx screen, but fell asleep in my hotel room and I missed the showing. Martin. Set that alarm, buddy. Come on.
Yeah.
Well.
You need to go again.
Garrett Groover says, it happened, Rob. My 4K of 7 came in the mail. I was just going to watch 10 minutes to check the quality and ended up watching the whole thing. That's exactly what I did. I'm like, I want to see what this looks like. And I put it on. I just kept watching. It's so good. What Spielberg movies do you want in 4K? All of them. I'll tell you one I want.
The question is which one are missing?
Empire of the Sun. Give me Empire of the Sun in 4K. I want in 4K.
Yeah.
I really would. Let's see what else do we need from him in 4K.
But his big blockbusters are all out, I think.
I'll tell you what I don't want in 4K. I will not buy Hook. Man, I don't like that movie.
Yeah, we all know.
Will not be buying Hook. But what else?
4K Cinema HD says the picture quality of the German Blu-ray of Strange Days is fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's two. I have two different Strange Days Blu-rays. The original and then the anniversary one that you told me about. Yeah. I would love to get. Do I have Lincoln in 4K? I love Lincoln. Yeah, most of his 2000s run in 4K. I mean, all of Spielberg's movies I think are pretty much Munich. I'd love to get Munich in 4K. Yeah, so that would be good.
Which could made a good double bill with September 5.
Yes, it's like watching From the Earth to the Moon and Apollo 13. Yeah, but that's actually September 5th in Munich is a great double feature.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
Unfortunately, I
haven't
seen September 5 yet, but I heard.
I haven't either.
But I heard good things about it.
By the way, in the marketing of September 5th, they just called them the terrorists. They wouldn't say that they were the Palestinian Black September terrorists, but that's what they are, and that's what happened. So yeah, I want to get September 5th in Munich. But September 5th looks great. Everyone says it's great.
Yeah.
So I love movies about the
because
press.
help me just about the story up. They were just reporters for the Olympian.
Yeah,
Games,
they were there. They were covering
into reporting about this incident.
Yeah, because what happened? Yeah, what happened was they were just it was ABC News. I think it was ABC, but it was the sports team there that was doing the Olympics, reporting on the Olympics, and the Black September took the Israeli team hostage in the Olympic Village, and they were there and they fought to stay because it was their story, and everyone tried to replace them and said you can't be doing this, and then they held on to that story and it became part of history, and it did not end well. And then Munich is about Israel's Golda Meir and her team sending out a team of people to exact revenge, and they got it.
Sounds really, really, really good topic.
Yeah,
September 5th.
I love Munich. I love yeah. Castle Grace Skull said, "Did you hear about the new Dan Brown novel, The Secret of Secrets? Do you like that author? And Canada is still not for sale. To you both. Can I get a shout out?" You can get a shout out, Castle Grace Skull. I love your name. That's very clever. I'll tell you something about Dan Brown. When why am I drawing a blank on his first big book, the Da Vinci Code? When the Da Vinci Code came out, because I read a lot, and when it appealed to me, I'm like, that sounds okay. The Da Vinci Code is one of the best bad books I ever read. And I mean, I say that it was totally compulsively readable, but it's not good. But I loved it. If that makes any sense, it's like it's a B or C list novel masquerading as A list. And then of course I read all of the Langdon books, Angels and Demons, because I tore through the Da Vinci Code, tore through it. It was compulsively readable. But I've only read his other.
So like you said, always, Rob, an airport read?
It's one of the ultimate airport reads. It's an ultimate airport reader. But I didn't read it. I didn't buy it for a plane flight. But I didn't read. Yeah. I read the three of them. But I didn't read I didn't read The Lost Symbol. But I don't know what Secret of Secrets is. But you know what? Since Castle Grace Skull brought it up, let's go find out. Shall we? And kudos to Dan Brown. I mean, making movies, Ron Howard directing the trilogy. Let's see, Secret of Secrets. I don't know what this is. Secret of Secrets. It's another Robert Langdon novel. So here you go.
He's back.
He is back. The Secret of Secrets. Wait a minute. It says pre-order. The world's most, let's see, Robert Langdon, esteemed professor of symbology, travels to Prague to attend a groundbreaking lecture by Catherine Solomon, a prominent noetic scientist whom he's recently begun a relationship with. Catherine's on the verge of publishing an explosive book that contains startling discoveries about the nature of, hang on, I just had an ad pop up, about the nature of human consciousness and threatens to disrupt centuries of established belief. But a brutal murder catapults the trip into chaos, and Catherine suddenly disappears along with her manuscript. Langdon finds himself targeted by I'm in. You know what? I don't even have to read anymore. I'll read this fucking book. That's the thing. It gets you. It's like because I got to know, because all of his stuff is based in real things. It's hooey, but hey, you said consciousness. You know, there's so much about the world we don't know, and Robert Langdon's going to tell us what it is. I'm in. Count me in, Castle Grayskull. I'm reading it. I'm getting it. Yes.
The Secrets of Secrets.
Deckard 2049 says, "Hey guys, is there a TV show of To Live and Die in LA still in production? No. Who would be your choice as showrunner? Michael Mann, Fukunaga, Tom Ford, Nicholas Winding Refn. All of those guys are great, but I would rather see those guys make movies and things. Well, although Cary Fukunaga, he made No Time to Die. So
what's there plans for a TV show, Rob?
I think there were. I think somebody, but I haven't heard anything about it. See, you know what the problem is? Here's my problem with all this shit. To Live and Die in LA works as a great, I know 200 Watt Studio is going to object, but it works as a great movie. Yeah. I don't want to watch a 10-episode TV series about that. It works. The structure of it all was fun because it was a 2-hour movie. It's like Presumed Innocent. Did you watch the Presumed Innocent TV show with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, unfortunately not.
The movie's great. With Raul Julia and Harrison Ford and Greta Scacchi and Bonnie Bedelia. I love the movie. John Williams score, great movie. The TV show, there were two things. I'm watching the TV show. I'm like, you can't go with the same ending. How are you going to change the ending? And I kept thinking to myself, how are you? And I figured it out. I figured halfway through. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you're going to do. But it's like it's the same story. It was fine, but it worked really, really well in the motion picture format. And I think that now a movie like that would never get made. You know, a studio would never make To Live and Die in LA, and a studio would never make Presumed Innocent, even though they're based on big books. They would be turned into 8 or 10 episode TV shows, which bums me out because the form, and when I say the form, I mean the 90-minute, 2-hour, 2.5 hour, the form of a motion picture is, I love that form. TV shows are great, but in terms of what you're looking for when you're watching a TV show, you're following the plot. You know, I heard I was doing an interview for Designing Hollywood yesterday with a filmmaker, a guy named Mike Pecci. And he had a term I'd never heard before. And he called it a plot trough. You know, a trough that an animal drinks or eats from? Like if you're in a farm, you have a trough. He said that like all content on streaming now, it's just a plot trough where you just go and you drink the sluice or whatever comes down and you just drink, you eat or drink from the plot trough. And I'm like, that's so true, because when you're watching a TV show, and this is what Tarantino was saying as well, you're following the plot. You know, what is the story? But you're not the cinema of it all. You're not letting it wash over you. And a lot of the time, the direction of these things, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of beautifully directed TV shows. You know, like Game of Thrones or something. They're very cinematic. But a lot of the time when you watch these like Harlan Coben mysteries, they're adapting his books, they're fine, but you're just following the plot. It's like what's going to happen, and you're going from A to B to C to D, and you're trying to figure out who's going. And it's gotten to the point where that's all you do. the 2-hour movie form, like when I'm watching, we went and saw, Companion, I'm sitting in the theater appreciating the fact it's a widescreen film. The film was shot, the director really was taking care with his compositions and the color and the frame, and he did some really interesting stuff, where somebody was in the foreground and another person was in the background walking up with, say, a gun in their hand. And there was some great cinema going on in that movie, and that's part of the form that I love. I loved eating and drinking from the plot trough as well, but I like cinema, man. And that's what the problem is. The studios, they're just not going to make those stories anymore. Studios, like I think about The Verdict. Like I love The Verdict. I think The Verdict is beautifully directed. Now it would be an 8 to 10 episode TV show. But it'd be the same story. And getting the story compressed and having it be cinematic is better, I think.
But like you said, Rob, a lot of TV shows these days are pretty cinematic, considering even the aspect ratios. There are a lot of TV shows that come with a bigger aspect ratio.
No doubt. But I think that they're relying on that aspect ratio to make it more cinematic as opposed to as opposed to directors. Because when you're working in television, you can't spend a lot of time setting up your shots unless you're working on, say, an HBO prestige show that you have the money and time to do it. But like when you're shooting a network show, shooting in widescreen makes it inherently more cinematic, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's being shot and directed like that because you don't have the time. You're still working under the constraints of television. And sometimes widescreen stuff is annoying if they're not using it properly. I find myself looking at, but then again, there's other shows that are pretty cinematic. I mean, Lioness is pretty cinematic. Landman is pretty cinematic, so yeah. So I don't know, Deckard. I didn't answer your question about who would be the showrunner, but see, it started us off on a good tangent. So good for you. Thank you for that tangent. That was a good one. 5 Dot Toast gifted 5 Burnettwork memberships,
nice.
And
thank you.
We had a good member call yesterday.
Member call. Yeah.
And then 200 Watt Studio says Netflix films are basically radio with pictures. Well, that's good because our audio drama, True Noir, written by Max Allan Collins, is like cinema, but with only audio, with no pictures. So that's what I like to say.
And how far are we with True Noir, Rob? Give us an update.
So we there was no episode this week because it's just things were backed up. My audio studio is actually, get this, is doing a martial arts film. They're mixing a martial arts movie. And episodes,
which would be a tough one.
Yeah, it's tough. And 2 of the guys who are in Everything Everywhere All at Once are in this movie. And then episode 6, from a editorial and sound design standpoint, is probably the biggest episode. It was the hardest one to edit so far, because just all the stuff that happens in it. It's the actual assassination of Anton Cermak. Spoiler alert. So yeah, it's FDR is speaking at in Miami at Bayfront Park, and he's giving a speech. You know what's really funny about True Noir is that as I go through it, every episode I have to say goodbye to my actors, like they're not in any more episodes. So it's kind of sad. Like I've finished cutting episode 7, and in episode 7 you have Bill Sadler as Dawes, you have Bill Smitrovich as Uncle Louie, Adam Arkin's one episode is Marianne Beam's father, and they go away. Severio is Cermak. I mean, and when they're gone, they don't come back. And it's like, oh, it's so sad. I'm never going to edit these guys again. I guess that's a good thing because that means I'll be done. But yeah, it's fun.
It's still work in progress.
Work in progress. 5 Dot Toast says, by the same token, Rob, I cannot imagine a universe where Breaking Bad and The Sopranos could have worked as 2-hour films. It's like the dichotomy between film and airy cameras. I want both. Well, I totally agree. I mean, I totally agree with that. I think that, look, here's the thing about Sopranos. I love The Sopranos. but nothing was better than the first season of The Sopranos because you still had Livia, and that show was designed around that. And then it kind of turned into more. It was a great show, but it turned into more of a mobster procedural.
Yeah.
You know, because Nancy Merchant died. But Breaking Bad, I think Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are, you know, but those are outliers. They were great. Breaking Bad's incredible. Yeah.
And even that we got such a good spin-off with Better Call Saul. Who would have thought that?
Oh, 100%. Yep. So I think we are all caught up.
Okay. Then I would say, present us what is coming out.
You want the news, baby?
First.
Well, as everyone knows, if you like big boobs, Russ Meyer's Vixen's movies came out this week on 4K, which I have to get from Severin. But they're putting out more. They're putting out more Russ Meyer movies. They're putting out Motor Psycho. Motor Psycho. and they're also putting out Up. If you don't see Up, you'll feel down. So, more boobs. And Boozomania, Russ Meyer's Boozomania continues. So those are coming out from Severin. I'm looking forward to seeing how good those releases are. Here you go. Time Cop coming out from Shout. Time Cop in 4K, which is a lot of fun. And then we're also getting Sorority House Massacre. Who's going to survive? Who will survive the final exam in 4K? Coming out from Shout and Scream. Also, The Hunt. The Hunt in 4K. And then I know. Renfield is coming in 4K. And then this, which was
already released from Turban here.
Yes. Now, please don't destroy the treasure of Foggy Mountain. I don't know anything about this, but hey, there you go. If you want it, it's coming out. And then this is cool. I already have this on Blu-ray. This is one of the first Blu-rays I got like 10 years ago or 12 years ago or whatever. The animated Summer Wars is being re-released.
Oh, nice.
And then it's also coming out as a steelbook. And I like this steelbook cover. I like this movie. And unless it's like a remake. And then we come to it. Arrow. Look what they're giving us. Arrow's giving us, that's right, The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yes, good night.
And it's going to be a big special edition. Very cool. Let me ask you, Dieter.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy this?
Certainly. And I'm always thinking about, considering there are a lot of scenes in the trailer that unfortunately didn't make it into the final movie. We need to get ready on. Why did he cut those scenes that were in the trailer?
Well, are we getting deleted scenes? Do you think? I don't know.
Hopefully.
I haven't looked.
No, but there are just scenes in the trailer that didn't make it into the movie. There's a scene where she jumps, I think, from a carriage to a truck, something like that, jet ski stuff. But it wasn't in the movie, unfortunately.
And then we've got this Japanese box set, Bullets and Betrayal. Japanese crime thrillers. You know what? You shouldn't judge anything by its cover, but how great does this set look? And I think there's a female Scorpion movie in this set. I think.
I think you're right.
Let me check. Because I have Arrow put out. They put out those before, and let me just check on this. So let me make sure. So this, let me look at this set and see what they've got, because this set looks great. And so this is V Cinema, Bullets and Betrayal. So let me just zoom in a little bit more. In 1989, legendary Japanese studio Toei launched their V Cinema line of direct-to-video genre features. V Cinema Essentials Bullets and Betrayal presents 9 explosive titles representing some of the best Japanese crime film has to offer. Fast-paced and action-packed, crime hunter, bullets of rage sees Detective Joe Kawamura out for revenge against the men. Well, I won't read them all. But, crime hunter, bullets of rage, and Neo Chinpira, Zoom Goes the Bullet. There's Stranger Carlos. Oh, yeah, there's Burning Dog, Female Prisoner Scorpion, Death Threat.
Yeah.
The Hitman, Blood Smells Like Roses, and Danger Point, The Road to Hell, XX, Beautiful Hunter. Why not get all of these? Why not do it?
It's right up my alley.
I know, right? Doesn't it? Looks right up my alley, too. And then let's see, what do we got here? We've got FX and special effects, FX and FX2.
FX2.
I like these movies. This looks like a cool box set they're putting out. Why not?
Didn't they come out from KINO-LORBER in the States?
Probably. I don't have them, but yeah, they could have very much so. And then of course the big releases that we already alluded to. Well, we showed them at the top of the. They're putting out the Man with No Name box sets, beginning with A Fistful of Dollars. And if Damn Fool Idealistic Crusader worked on these, I guess they'll probably be the definitive versions of these. Of course, there's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I'm doing these out of order. Yeah. And then A Fistful of Dollars. Did I already do that? Yes. And where's For a Few Dollars More? Where did I put it? For a Few Dollars More. First of all, how great are these covers? I love these covers. Yeah. These are great. What's Not to Love? And they'll probably be the definitive releases of these titles because everyone knows if they fuck it up, people will get pissed. And isn't it weird that The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is 18? It's got an 18 certificate. But these are only British releases, only UK.
Perhaps they didn't do a new certification one, and it's an old one.
Yeah, that could be. Could very well be. But pretty cool. I mean, very excited to get all of these. What's not to love? What is not to love? Coming out. Again, I've bought these movies on Laserdisc, on DVD, on Blu-ray. I have them on 4K already. I'll get them.
The Italian for cult already.
Yeah, we got the Italian for. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be better than that, but we've got it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure if Damn Fool Idealistic Crusader is on it. I love the fact that somebody took him up, like he's always saying, please come to me if you need help with restoration of your film. So it's cool that somebody took him up on it and he's consulting. And then we have Swept Away, Lena Wertmüller's coming out on Raro in 4K, which means that this is coming. I think this will be Kino distributes these in the States, but yeah. Lena Wertmüller, her original, is coming out. So that's cool in 4K. I'd love to get this. I don't know if Raro has put out. They put out a lot of great stuff, but I don't know if this is their first 4K or not, to be honest. Maybe they have put out other 4Ks, but pretty good. And then, of course, everyone's favorite meme movie, because it has Jennifer Connelly riding a horse, a fake horse. Career Opportunities with Frank Whaley. The one where she's like riding on that. You put a quarter in that horse that's in like the department store or whatever.
Yeah.
Career Opportunities coming out in 4K from Kino. Very cool. And then we have Stripes. I don't know. They're putting out a steelbook of Stripes. Stripes already came out as part of one of the Columbia Classics box sets, but they're re-releasing the 4Ks in individual steelbooks, which is okay. Sorry, this is not Kino. This is Sony, but it's coming out. But what is coming out from Kino in 4K is one of the great comedies of all time, Foul Play with Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase in 4K, coming from Kino. Very cool. Very excited to get this. I love this movie. It will be great to have. So you go, Kino. And then these are coming out from, I think Eureka. Is it Eureka? The Adventures, more Ringo Lamb movie. I mean, come on. Who doesn't, just this cover alone, I'm sold. It's Ringo Lamb and this. I would buy this. Never seen it, want it, get it. Yeah. And then we've got The Magnificent Chang Chen, another, this is a Shaw Brothers movie that I've never seen. I don't know if these individual releases are in the various Shaw Brothers box sets that have come out, because I don't know the movies well enough to know right away, but this is being re-released by, I think this is also Eureka, is it? So that's cool.
But they have made so many movies, Rob. Probably.
I know.
Could be separate ones.
I know. It's hard to say. And then, of course, Eureka's putting out Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, which is pretty crazy, but that's cool. Again, part of their Masters of Cinema line. Great to have. I mean, Eureka has been putting out amazing stuff over the years, so why stop now? And if you like Laurel and Hardy, there you go. And then 101 Films is putting out Robot Wars, all the way back from the Full Moon Empire days. Not a great movie, but hey, if you want it, you got it. Robot Wars, put it up there on the shelf with Robot Jocks, coming out from 101. And then they're also putting out, I really like this movie. So Robot Wars and Trancers, Trancers I think was Empire. It started out as Empire and then became Full Moon, maybe. But I really liked, of course, Tim Thomerson plays Jack Death. Really like this movie. And Helen Hunt is in this movie too. I was on the set of Trancers 2 and went to the after party and played pool with Helen Hunt. And she was very quiet and very nice, and like nobody was talking to her, and I didn't understand why. That was before Mad About You, and so that's cool. This looks like I want to get this. I like Trancers. Yeah. Then we got Eye for an Eye, Blind Vengeance. I don't know who's putting this out, but hey, it's coming out. It's another Asian movie that looks cool, so why not? Don't know.
Too many to count.
And then they're putting Gandhi out. This is already come out.
Oh, Eye for an Eye is Rob is Melgo USA. This is
it is
sequel to the first one.
So Eye for an Eye. So it's Well Go USA. There you go. I didn't know that. Well, it's a sequel. And then of course Gandhi's coming out as a steelbook from Sony. Once again, it was already previously released in one of their box sets. And then this looks pretty cool. A 4K of Hans Zimmer live in Prague. I like watching clips of Hans Zimmer goes on the road with a big orchestra to play his most famous compositions. And Tina Guo goes with him, and she plays her electric cello. The most erotic electric cello player in the whole world. So I'll get this. And I love the music. I love music discs. So... Yeah, great to have that coming out. KINO-LORBER is putting out some doubling up on their John Wayne releases. John Ford's film Donovan's Reef is coming in 4K, co-starring Lee Marvin, which is pretty cool. And then John Wayne's Sands of Iwo Jima is coming out in 4K. I like these movies. I think these are some of the quintessential. When you think about John Wayne, these are some of these. I mean, they're not his A-list classics like The Searchers, but they're good. They're good. They're the meat and potatoes of John Wayne's career, and I like them. And they're coming out in 4K from Kino. Then this is coming out from Studio Canal in A Year of 13 Moons. I don't know anything about this movie, to be honest. But it's coming out from KINO-LORBER. It's got an 18 certificate, and it looks like there's boobs in it. So, hey, it's why not? It's Vintage World Cinema. It says it right there. So, I like this cover too. But they've been putting out some really they've been putting out some really great stuff. And this is, of course, by Rainer Werner Fassbinder. How do you pronounce his name?
Rainer Werner Fassbinder.
Yeah, Fassbinder.
So we are totally close, Rob. We're close.
Yeah. So there you go. Totally close. And it looks like there's girls in it as opposed to dudes that are in most of his movies. But if you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. But it's a Fassbinder movie I haven't seen, so why not? And then Severin, more Severin goodness. Severin is putting out a title called The Pickup, which I honestly don't know anything about. But Severin's got some really interesting stuff that they pick up. And this is the limited edition bonus disc, the long out of print documentary Mau Mau Sex. So I would imagine it's about Mau Mau and sex. So this must be a Mau Mau movie, which it looks like. And what's not to love? And then this is, I don't know if this is a new label, but called just Fabulous, but this is a new British release of Dragnet. The Dragnet, the comedy, obviously. And I don't know if this is a new, let me look and see if there's more information on this. If I can find out, let me look this up, because something tells me that there is something interesting about this release. And why am I drawing a blank on it? I can't find it. Yeah, it's British label Fabulous Films is preparing a Blu-ray release of Tom Mankiewicz' Dragnet, and it's coming out on March 3rd.
New label, okay.
Yeah, so you got to love that, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, why shouldn't we love that? And that's good. So, hey, and now let's see where the sales charts are going to take us. Top-selling Blu-ray discs: The Wild Robot, Alien Romulus, Inglourious Bastards, Deadpool and Wolverine, Seven, Snowpiercer, Oppenheimer, Twisters, Dune Part 2, and Godzilla -1. That is not a very interesting list. I like to see Arrow on that list, and Anchor Bay is on that list, putting out Snowpiercer. Good list. All solid, very solid Blu-ray titles, but nothing surprising. And now
genre specific.
Yeah. 4K's 7, number 1, as it should be. Snowpiercer, Inglourious Bastards, Oppenheimer, Dune Part 2, Transformers 1, The Wild Robot, The Searchers. I love seeing Warner Archive up there. Dune Part 2, and Alien Romulus. And that is all the news that's fit to print this week. And if you want to find the news too, you can go to Media Play News or go to Blu-ray.com.
Yeah.
And they refresh every day. They have stories to tell. So there we go.
Considering how many new stuff we are getting still.
Yeah, I mean, there's lot of great stuff coming down the pike, man. I don't know how these tariffs are going to. I mean, obviously, one of the big replication facilities is in Mexico. I mean, that's all we need for physical media to suddenly have the prices boosted by 25%. You know, which will be more than 25%, which will be unfortunate.
Yeah, especially since the shipping costs are not that cheap for me, considering my US purchases.
No, I mean, when we buy stuff from all over the world,
Texas. Yeah,
the world needs to just take a breather and calm down. Hey, world, take a deep breath. Can we just calm the fuck down, please?
Yeah.
Everybody's got to calm the fuck down. We're living in a weird time. Or just get it over with. Just go to the mattresses. Get rid of it all. Get rid of all that bad blood. Let's go to the let's Godfather this shit and go to the mattresses. Get it all done. One fell swoop, and whoever's standing at the end, well, you know, we'll have enough physical media.
Some super chats came in.
Super chats coming on in. Let's see. Let me get to where they are. I've got so many things open now. Yeah. And I have to shut some things. Shut them down. Deadline. That goes away. Okay. Let's see. 5 Toast. Walter Whitewalker says, idea.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob's completely sober movie reviews. Are you saying that when I reviewed Companion, I had been drinking? I really hadn't been drinking that much. I'd had a beer. Admittedly, it was a 9% alcohol beer and a large glass of wine. That's what I had to drink.
Yeah.
But I could do Uncle Bob's. No, because I'm my high school reunion is coming up, so I have to get off the sauce and hit the gym. Slim down and look all svelte and everything for my high school reunion. So
my house, my yard, my film studio.
Yeah, that's right.
Your high school reunion.
Walter Whitewalker says Companion's fantastic. People say they don't do anything original in Hollywood anymore, but when they do, no one sees it. Marketing. And Rob, what is the weather just making sure the weather. Am I missing something there? The weather's good here.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a euphemism or I'm
not sure.
missing something there. The weather's good. The weather is very, very good. And now I'm also missing, I don't know where
Yeah.
I'm missing I'm missing an application here. But yeah, the weather's good.
Okay.
So that's good. And
So if you want, Rob, you can take a breather, and I would skim through the live chat, what people are saying last week, because they had something to say about Section 31 too.
well, I'm not going anywhere, I want to hear this.
Okay.
So
Here we go. Yeah. Previously on Let's Get Physical Media, annoying critic. They were doing what a lot of people are doing now, which is making Bad Guardians ripoffs. Timmons, considering Nosferatu, the extended cut is just 3.5 minutes. He says 3.5 minutes, that's all, not worth it really. And I can't even tell you where they movies are. Tom Jr. Jackson, bullshit. The Wild Robot was one of the best animated films of 2024. For me, the story is just paint by numbers. So I was expecting a little bit more, considering the story, to really get me more invested into the Wild Robot. GA, I'm sick of co-leads receiving Best Supporting Actor nominations. Grande is not supporting, and neither is Culkin. Speaking of real pain, is the movie. GA, I'd vote for them. Fool Crusader in charge of all restorations. We get one a year. We will get the Nobody trilogy then this year.
That's 3.
Dan Smith, it's 3. Dan Smith, anyone watching Severance season 2? Not in a moment. I'm waiting. I'm more of a binger. I'm waiting when a few episodes are together. Rob, have you started watching Severance season 2?
I'm kind of like with
okay.
you. I haven't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
we're
did
waiting.
watch. Did we talk about Paradise?
You told us on Observations, and I wanted to start, but I haven't, because it's internationally. It is on Disney Plus.
Don't read anything about it. Just watch it.
Okay, I watch it. Nice. Paradise. It is on international. It is Disney Plus. Tom Jr. Jackson. I just keep my TV on retail setting. If you're not trolling, Tom, that is really a bad thing to do. Timmons. Dietz took one for the team by watching Section 31, so we don't have to. Not only me, a lot of people did, because we were actually happy. Oh, it's not a series. Come on, 90 minutes. Will be short and sweet. It wasn't. BCH. Section 31 is truly terrible. A clown show. I'm glad Michelle Yeoh was paid well. Walter White Walker. Are we on Saturday to avoid the streams with the championship games? No, we were on Saturday because I asked Rob, we can do it Saturday. Because if I have early shift Monday, for me it's easier. If we can do it Saturday, then it doesn't matter if the show is 2 hours or 3 hours. But if I have early shift, I'm always looking at the watch. If we are over 2 hours, it was just a timing issue that worked better for me.
Yeah.
Castle Grayskull, most amazing actors and comedians are Canadian. Can anybody check that, if that is really true? Yeah, get back to me later then. David Rose, is it that bad? Considering Section 31, it really is. Secular Monk, I haven't seen it, but it can't be this bad. It is. Believe us. And Clarence Maxwell said, it's not about art and storytelling anymore. Like Rob always said, it's about money laundering. Secular Monk, No to Self by Rob, Section 31, which you could do in 4K. Joseph, Barry Bostwick from Spin City. Yes, Barry Bostwick from Spin City is in True Noir.
He plays Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR.
Nice. This was a super chat, but sometimes I like to bring in the super chats too. Hello, Rob and Dieter. Shout out to Yura Borisov for all his Oscar nominations for Anora. I'm an actor and his performance is close to me. Happy 2025. Film watching. Your fingers crossed that probably he has a chance of winning. Hi, Rob and Dieter. from Georgie. Conair hits 4K on digital disc collectors. Fingers crossed that hopefully we will get Conair then as a disc too. Dan Smith says, Emily is a movie I loved at the time, but I kind of doubt I'd like it now. I would like it now because there are so many real people like that now. Okay, but for Rob, it's still one of his
real
favorites.
people like Amélie Poulain. Come on, man.
Majestic Media. Hey Rob, that Lionsgate should not have released Kill Bill on 4K. Rob was telling us about the transfers and how digital masters, intermediates, and that thing have. So back, hey Rob, then Lionsgate should not have released Kill Bill on 4K. Simple as that, because they didn't went back to the negative. We know the process, but they choose to scam people with a fake 4K, which also hurts the format's reputation.
Well, I want to speak to that. Okay, first of all, there is no cut negative for Kill Bill. You know, they back then they were what they were doing was scanning the negative in. They were color timing movies. Same with like Amélie. You know, it was completely digitally color graded. Now, if they wanted to, they would export. You could do a color separation on celluloid. What is it? RGB color separation, where each color is separated onto storage. But in order to make a true 4K disc, you would have to go back in. You'd have to get all the negative. You'd have to and there's no cut negative, so you've got to go get all the trims or whatever. So you then have to take each piece or find it, scan it again in 4K, and recolor time the color grade the movie. That's enormously time consuming and expensive. And the thing is, the thought, I'm sure, with Quentin Tarantino, what he was thinking is that, okay, the process that they went through, the way the movie was finished, like it's surprising to me. Like I don't know why there isn't cut negative of Kill Bill, because he's so big on shooting on film. Yeah. But at the time, I mean, it was just so many movies were done that way, you know, color grading, and he had opportunities to. So what you have is that transfer and the way it was finished, and he color timed it the way he wanted it to look. Now the thing is, if you went back to the original negative at the time, the movie would not look the same. It would look different. And there'd be no way to make it look the same because of how it was done. You could get it close and you would have a true 4K. But remember, a lot of the movies, especially like the Marvel movies that we got, they were not finished in 4K and they didn't have cut negative. And a lot of the films that we've seen on 4K discs are up conversions, because the movies were only finished in 2K. You know, because the effects were only finished in 2K, because every frame of CG, every frame of computer-generated imagery has a cost associated with it. And render times are a factor. I mean, render times are much faster now. But 15 years ago, you know, essentially, so HD is, or 2K is about 6 times better than standard def video. And 4K is about 4 times better than HD, than 2K. So when you're rendering effects at the time, it takes render times what you get charged for that. So that's why we have a lot of these movies that exist the way they exist. You still get benefits by you can open up the color space that's available to you when you're up resing. There's a lot of things you can do. But like a movie like Amélie, they didn't want to spend the money they needed to spend to preserve it so you could make a negative of the way that the film was scanned or at the time. So like Amélie, you could never go back in and scan Amélie and make it look like it looks. You could get it close, but that movie, they spent a long time heavily affecting the footage in camera. I mean, in the computer. And so I mean, I understand it's not a fake 4K release because it's actually in 4K, but the original elements you're working with are not. Now, that's just a function of mostly things after the year 2000. But it's unfortunate that that's the situation, but that's what it is. Now, am I a person that believes in going back to the negative and always like, absolutely, whenever possible. But to take the Kill Bill films, it's strange to me that the Kill Bill films did not have cut negative, and that because Quentin Tarantino is so big on that. But maybe at the time, you know, in terms of budget, those movies were already a lot more expensive than they were supposed to be, and this was an economical way. You're still shot on film, and they still look like film. And I remember when I was working on Superman Returns, I was at MPI, Motion Picture Imaging, that's on the Warner lot. I was with Brian Singer, and we were going to look at some color grading stuff, and they took us into a room, and they showed us. I think they showed us a projection. It was Cool Hand Luke. They were working on the Paul Newman movie, Cool Hand Luke, and they set us down, and they asked us what we were looking at. They asked us, "What do you think you're looking at?"
Digital.
Yeah, they were. And we both were like, because the film grain was there. I don't know if it was early 4K or if it was a 2K, but it looked wonderfully filmic, and we were both blown away. We're like, "Wow, that looks like film," but it was a digital projection. We were not looking at film; we were looking at a digital. And I don't remember. I think it might have just been the Blu-ray. The restoration of the film, because I don't think 4K existed, but we were watching the digital projection of the restoration that was coming off of digital source, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, you know, it is what it is, and I know that certain people can get mad about these things, but you know, to go back and to go back to the actual film elements sometimes is, first of all, it's enormously time consuming. It would require a lot of human manpower to do, and it would take forever. So that's why, you know, do we want scans right off the negative? Yeah, that would be the way to do it. But sometimes you don't have that opportunity, and you know, people bitch and moan and complain, and they can, but it's like, especially now with the amount of money, how are they going to get their money back? Like, let's say you invest, I don't know, $500,000 or $1 million doing that. That's really going to eat into your profits of that title. Yeah. So it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah. Tough choice. Gordon Vidal, I guess better late than never. Had to see some work lines. Hopefully didn't miss RMB destroying that god-awful Section 31 movie. Rob destroyed it over the whole 2.5 hour show that we did last week. Michael Nellis asks, what's the difference between 4 and 2K? Rob already told us that. And he asked us, where did you get your DVDs? DVDs we don't buy anymore. We buy Blu-rays or 4Ks from Amazon or the shops themselves from Second Sight, Arrow. You go to the online shops that they provide oftentimes themselves, or Lionsgate, where you can get. Or Amazon is always an option. Peter T, I watched Arrow's Inglourious Bastards 4K last week. It looked great, and I really enjoyed it. Me too. I watched it again. I haven't seen Inglourious Bastards for a long time. Still holds up. Great movie. 10 out of 10 for me. Paul Eike, what do you think of the original Star Trek remastered? New special effects or the old? Rob, what do you prefer, the old or the new?
Well, for the most part, yeah. I think that the I want to talk about resolution too. You know, the Star Trek effects are, to me, a mixed bag when they were doing them. It's some of them are actually really cool, but unfortunately, again, they were done on a limited budget. So a lot of the ship shots, the Enterprise. It's all about special effects. Are all about the design of the effect shot. And one of the things that I didn't like about the remastered effect shots of like the Enterprise is a lot of the time the Enterprise would move too fast. Even though in space you can do all kinds of crazy things, the Enterprise, they've still always sold it. In the Star Trek universe, these large starships are like huge seagoing vessels. Yeah. And I remember watching like in Encounter at Farpoint, the first episode of Next Generation, when there's the saucer separation and the saucer goes and the drive section like whips around, it spins around really fast. I'm like, I mean, I know they did what they had to do, but I hated that because the illusion of weight, it's all made up anyway.
Yeah.
So the way a ship,
Totally
the way a
gets what you're
starship
saying.
moved, yeah. So the one thing I really did like about the remastered effects, like in an episode like Court Martial, you see exactly where the ion pod is that Ben Finney is supposed to be in. So whenever they would add things to the Star Trek universe through effects, like show you things they couldn't show you before, or maybe change the story, like in the Enterprise incident, add a bird of prey along with the Klingon battle cruisers and things like that, I like that. But some of the things like the Doomsday Machine, I understand the new effects are maybe better for people, but on the whole, I prefer the older effects.
Yeah.
But
so it's a tough choice, Rob. It's a 50-50.
But yeah, but the thing is,
depending on the situation,
they put both versions on disc, so I thought that was great.
Yeah.
So now
Totally.
I just want to talk about the difference really quickly because somebody asked about 2K and 4K. 2K resolution, which is basically Blu-ray. 2K resolution is 2,560 by 1440 pixels. So that you're talking about 1440 and 2560. And if you have like widescreen, like SMPTE widescreen, for 2K is like 2048 by 848. So 800. If you're watching a widescreen, a 239 movie in 2K, it's the file itself. There isn't extra black on the top and bottom, but it appears that way on your TV. But the full frame file of a widescreen 2K image is 2048 by 858 pixels. And so that's like a wide. Now 4K is 3840 by 2160 pixels. And then the widescreen is, I forget what it is, but it's a little different than that. But it's pixels. So you have a much higher resolution image that has much more definition in it. Now, the human eye has a hard time perceiving. I mean, we basically see a little bit better than 4K, like our field of vision. And so the thing about 4K is when you're watching, depending on the screen you're watching on, the bigger the screen, the more the resolution. So a lot of time people will tell you that there's not much difference between Blu-ray and 4K. I mean, that could be depending on the size of, but if you're using a projector, it really depends on how great your system is. But like on a 65-inch OLED, a great transfer on Blu-ray is not as, it can be almost indistinguishable from a 4K. But if you have things like HDR or Dolby Vision, like HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, what the metadata does is it's constantly adjusting. Like if you have a bright scene, it'll constantly adjust. Like Dolby Vision will adjust scene by scene for you if it's a well encoded movie. So you can get this is all very, very simplistic, but that's the benefit. So if you have a Kill Bill that has Dolby Vision applied to it or HDR10 applied to it, you can get more out of it, even though the original it's only a 2K up conversion, because you have that in the 4K format. You can do other things, color things. Like, and I'll give you an example. When I was doing Tango Shalom, we finished in 4K, but there were some within the movie. There was some footage that I had to intercut. There was a dance sequence, and this is kind of interesting. It was shot in 6K, 4K, 2K, and HD, and I was intercutting all of those different pieces of footage. Now, it was all on a timeline, a 4K timeline, but the color space of each one of those formats is different, meaning you obviously get much better color. And the movie was shot, when I was editing it, it was shot 5 years prior to my editing and finishing it. So Blackmagic, some of that footage was shot on a Blackmagic camera. They had come up with better transcoding software. So what is it, Rec 708? So I was able to expand the color space.
709, isn't it?
Rec 709, yeah.
Right.
I don't know why I said 8. So it was originally shot in Rec 709, but their new transcoding software allowed footage that was 5 years old to be transcoded, and I was able to open up the color space. So when we were trying to color match shots in the dance sequence, it allowed me more leverage or more latitude to match the shots together. Because my biggest nightmare was when I was editing the movie, I'm like, how are we going to make this dance sequence when you've got all these really quick cuts match? And so that was a problem. Like, multiple formats have not as much color space in them, but we were able to do that because the software got better. Now, ultimately people are complaining about AI, like, oh, it used AI. AI is just a tool. The thing is, what AI will eventually be able to do is, I'm a big proponent, always when you can, you go back to the original negative. That's what you want to do. What AI is going to eventually be able to do is artificially create what it would be like to go back to the original negative. Because when you have a photochemical thing, the picture is always moving, because it's, it's not like a perfectly still image. AI will eventually get so good that you'll be able to scan in negative, like make it look, and then AI can extrapolate on that, and it'll be able to do whatever you want. It's not there now, but it'll be able to recreate. You'll be able to recreate the grain pattern of whatever film stock was used. Like, you'll be like Fuji whatever stock.
Kodak.
From the film stock that was made in 1972. AI will be able to duplicate all of that, and it'll eventually. Right now, it's not there yet. They're using AI to up-res and scan things, and I don't think it's there yet. I still think, I mean, when you only have video footage from like the 70s, it's probably going to be, that's where it's going to be really great, is that there's just isn't detail. Like, we had NTSC standard def video 640 by 480, which is garbage. And like, there was TV shows in the 80s and stuff that were only finished on tape. Like, Next Generation was only finished on tape. They were able to go back and get all the negative. Well, when AI gets more sophisticated, imagine all the news archives, like, not necessarily news that was shot on film that was happening in the 50s and 60s, but imagine news archives that were only shot in standard def video. AI will be able to use those and eventually extrapolate those images and make them look great. And it'll be really exciting what AI can do archivally for things. But it's still making stuff up. That's so it'll be interesting to see where all of that goes. I'm not an AI hater in that sense. Yeah. What AI is going to do, though, is, unfortunately, or fortunately, you'll just be able to everybody will be able to make studio quality looking movies, because the AI imagery, you'll just have prompts and it'll create anything you want. I mean, I'm already watching stuff now that people are making. I watched Princess Leia walk down the corridor of the Enterprise D wearing a Next Generation uniform, and it looked perfect. And that's what's going to happen, and it's going to put everybody out of a job, because everything you see in an image, people would have to design and build it, whether it's costumes or whether it's a set or something. All that's going to go away, and everybody will be in 5 years. Everybody's going to be making their own movies and TV shows, and it'll be entirely AI generated. And the problem with that is, will people accept that? Like, will it get good enough that it'll always be about the storytelling. So, but we're going to get there. You'll be able to be like, make me a movie where I'm the star, and I'm making a Star Wars movie set in the Knights of the Old Republic era, and I want to rescue a princess, and I want a couple of droids, and I want that, and you'll punch a button, and you'll wake up the next morning, and there'll be a 2-hour movie with a John Williams Star Wars score that you star in, and the AI will have taken all these different things, and it'll just generate you a movie. Now, will it be great? I don't know, but you'll be able to reprompt, and it's going to get to the point where everything that you see on a film, when you watch a movie, think about it. Everything you're seeing was made by somebody. But imagine everything, like, pick your favorite movie. Now imagine when you watch it that all of it was AI generated, which means not a human being did not work on any of it. I mean, think about it. Those are hundreds of jobs. poof, gone.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, Rob, considering Next Generation, the restoration, since you talked about going back to the camera negative with Kill Bill, it didn't pay off considering what they did for Next Generation. Because it was that expensive to go back to the negatives, and the Blu-ray didn't sell what they were expecting.
no, and it was really because a lot of people, you know, when it comes right down to it, not everybody's a connoisseur. You know, there are very few people that, I found this out too, since it's now 20 years ago this month. 20 years ago, I was working in Sydney, Australia on Superman Returns. And I thought we were making a 3-disc set, and we were going to do a 6-hour documentary, kind of like Lord of the Rings, on the making of Superman Returns. That's what I was hired to do. And so we shot, I think, closer to 2,000 hours of behind-the-scenes footage. 2,000 hours. And as it stands, there's a 3-hour documentary on the making of Superman Returns that I did. But Walmart said, no, we only want a 2-disc set, because they sold 50% of the physical media in 2006 when the disc came out. But Superman Returns, whether you liked it or not, is immaterial. When it was sold, when it came out, the special edition with my documentary, for every 10 copies that were sold, the movie-only edition sold 8 copies, and our special edition with our documentary sold 2. So people only 20% of the Superman Returns discs that were sold were a special edition. Most people just bought them to have the movie. So there's, of the people buying physical media, only 20% of us are the connoisseur collectors. And I think I think that's gotten bigger now, because the people buying physical media are only connoisseurs.
We're the only ones left now.
So as that comes down, but it's getting to the point where, you know, people just don't care as long as they can see, and that I think that is the central question of our age. So if people want to read books or whatever, like let's say you're a woman into romance novels, AI will be able to generate romance novels. You, as a reader, will be able to prompt your own romance novel, and you'll be able to tailor it to what you want. And like, once we live in that world, will it matter if a human being writes it? If you can get a book immediately AI generated that has everything that you want in it, and remember, it's generative AI that's scanned every other work of literature that ever existed. You can say, I would like a story in the style of this, you know, with, I don't know, whatever, and you'll be able to tell it, and it'll be able to mix and match all of those things, and it will spit you out a custom designed novel that you suggested, and you can make it 200 pages, 400 pages, 600 pages. When we can do that, and we are not very far away from that right now, why would you buy a book that somebody else wrote? I mean, I still like Stephen King's imagination, but even Stephen King, if you're Stephen King and you've already written 50 fucking novels or 100 novels and however many short stories, you upload your own work to AI. Stephen King just takes all of his pages, uploads them, and he just sits there, and Stephen King will say, he'll think one day, he'll get up one morning and go, I had this idea for a book. It's about this. And he can go into his AI and go, write me a Stephen King novel with these characters, and this happens. And he hits a button, and a Stephen King novel comes out from Stephen King that uses all of his writing style, because it's generatively looked into everything that he's written. And it will pop out. And by the way, it's not even Stephen King. You will be able to do that. You will be able to just generate Stephen King books. And I don't think, once that happens, what's the difference between a real Stephen King book and an AI-generated Stephen King book? And that's what I think people aren't quite understanding about AI, is that unless we as people decide to value what is art after all? Art is human beings trying to make sense of our own existence through whatever it is, whether it's music or movies or literature or painting, sculpture. That's what art has always been. It's always quantified the truth of our existence in some kind of external way to comment on life. Well, if that goes away and we don't need to do it anymore, what is that going to do to humanity in 10 years, 50 years, 100 years? Where are we going to go? I mean, even sculpture. You can hit a button and you'll be able to 3D print whatever. And then people are going to say like, oh, I did that. Even though generative AI has took all the human endeavor in the past and put it all together. So you're not really doing anything. And then what happens when people never learn how to sculpt? You know, they just hit buttons. Luckily, live music will always have to be played by real people until, of course, we have robots that are agile enough that they can play. And you can make the robots look whoever you can have. I mean, eventually you'll have the Beatles. You'll have the Beatles. They'll look exact. You can even have come see the Beatles the way they looked in 1963 or when they first came to America. And you'll have a perfect facsimile of all four, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, wearing those suits the way they looked on the Ed Sullivan Show. And it'll be robots, and they'll be able to play perfectly instruments. And then you're going to be like, is that something that we're going to want? And I think we're going to have to go through all that and we'll have to make those decisions. And are we going to have a Butlerian jihad? I don't know. But I mean, that's where we're going to be. So I will end the philosophy lesson. But this is something that I don't think people are really considering. Most people aren't, but it's going to be a strange new world.
Yeah, certainly. So this was from Paul Eigi. Tom Jr. Jackson. I haven't watched Section 31 yet, but I plan to. And the man says, I feel sorry for you. You shouldn't, Tim. Probably Tom. Probably like it even. Section 31. Walter Whitewalker. So, watch party for Section 31? No, Walter. We're not doing a watch party. Walter Whitewalker. Speaking of Hunger Games, when is Jennifer Lawrence gonna be on? I have no idea. We will make up the schedule when she will be there. And the man says, I'm specifically waiting for Deed's pal, Rennie Harlin, to appear on the show first. Exactly. And then we will talk about the so-called directors or extended.
Well, we should get him on when the Arrow Long Kiss Goodnight comes out.
That would be great.
And you know what? Long Kiss Goodnight's a Warner Brothers movie. Maybe I could call
help me out, Rob. And you did an Alyssa views for Long Kiss Goodnight, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I wonder if I could call Warner Brothers and see if somebody can help me out. Have Rennie Harlin come on the show.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Ryan Boucher. I still love Blu-rays. Just bought Deadpool and Wolverine recently. Screw expensive Wi-Fi, only digital, that you don't even own and can be altered or removed. Walter Whitewalker. Considering Rennie Harlin. Are they good friends, Dieter and I? I could have sworn I saw Dieter in Cutthroat Island. Maybe they met on set, and we had a great time. I was just ducking behind the railing to see the big explosion. Secular Monk. I am totally baffled by the appeal of Honora. Why do people like it so much? Because it's just a good movie. Boy, totally had a blast with it. Walter Whitewalker. Can they use AI to take old shows from the 80s and turn them into at least a presentable 4K? I mean, they made Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers into Simple Jeremy on Friday Night Lights in no time. I think Rob covered this topic already, considering AI making those shows into 4K. Superman, Rob is constantly interrupting Dieter. I think this goes both ways. If you are doing a chat with Chief Running Mouth, you have to be, on point. No Money G came in with a super chat. Rob, did you buy your special Section 31 badge so you can show it off to all your friends? He probably didn't do that. And Walter Whitewalker says, where's my Psycho Gorman 2? I too want a sequel to Psycho Gorman 2. Rhaegar Targaryen, much more like Joker, fully I don't. So he was not a fan. And Castle Grayskull, who will win the Razzies? Well, probably Joker is in a good position to get some of those Razzies. Walter Whitewalker, I'm really hoping Companion is good. Haven't been to a theater in a month and I'm getting the shakes. So glad you enjoyed it. Deckard 2049. Rob, I need a palate cleanser after enduring Section 31. Can you quickly recommend a few good Trek fan films made after 2016? Thanks, Rob and Dieter. Always a great show. So, Rob, do you have fan recommendations considering Star Trek besides Unification, which wasn't a fan movie? Do you have good Star Trek fan movies you can recommend?
Well, I mean, the first one I would recommend, even though don't delve into the way it was, what happened with it, was Prelude, our own fan film, Prelude to Axanar. But also Star Trek Continues. I think there's 11 episodes of Star Trek Continues, and this Star Trek: The New Voyage or Star Trek Phase 2, the James Cawley Star Trek fan films. And also go look up the Avalon universe. There's a lot of fan films in the Avalon universe that are really great. There's a fan film called Star Trek of Gods and Men that's pretty great. There's Tommy Kraft's feature-length movie. I forget what it's called. And then there's just there's a lot out there. The USS Farragut, I forget what that's called, but it's also feature-length. And Farragut Forward, I think they just put out a new thing. There's a lot of really great fan films out there in terms of Star Trek fan films. But those,
and Rob, they are all better than Section 31.
They all are better than Section 31. all of them.
So you can watch them all. Deckard 2049 and get your palate cleanser. Bill Barclay, whatever happened to Kung Fury movie, the thing the Hoff did a song for? If you're talking about that one, that is available on the Tube, Kung Fury, but it's only a short one, about 35 minutes, which features the song. I think they were talking about the movie, but as far as I know, there's only the short one that exists. Demenz, these would make an ideal Count Orlok with the German accent. Oh, probably. I could pull that off. Walter White Walker. Rob is like the bridge connecting Gary from Netrodic to John Campea. Yeah, Rob is our bridge between both worlds. Joseph, I usually tune out when Dieter starts reading the chat. Not only you, Joseph, but I don't care. And the last one, Gary Benjo Sandwich Worthington. This show is 3 hours better than Section 31. This was the live chat, from last week, my friend.
Somebody just sent me a really interesting link.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is. I went to the link. If you go to if you want to get a passport, like if you go to the passport application system here in the United States, it doesn't work. It says it's undergoing maintenance. Now I have a passport, but I thought that's interesting. Yeah.
Just on a side note,
I'm glad I got my paperwork in order. So we got some super chats.
Yeah.
200 Watt Studio says Rob's high school is so old it was a one-room classroom. Come on, man. Was not that old. Thomas Logan wants to know which deserves Best Picture, The Brutalist or Anora?
I know, Thomas. I haven't seen The Brutalist.
I haven't either, but it's playing close to me, so I'm going to go see it. Yeah, I can't,
and it's playing with an intermission, I hear.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours long. Yeah. 200 Watt Studio says, do you think Michelle Yeoh will lower her fee to be in a Section 31 sequel?
Certainly not.
No, I don't think she will. I don't.
So, Thomas, we can tell you what will be the best picture winner.
Yeah. Paul Allen Bernota says the 52nd Saturn Awards are on tonight. Are you watching? Well, I used to go. I was the director of special events for the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. And then kind of because of Axanar, because of my involvement with that, I kind of was they didn't invite me anymore. I went to the Saturn Awards
canceled, Rob?
A little bit. For 25 years I was involved with the Academy, and I edited a lot of their montages, so I would go, and it was a lot of fun. It's changed a little bit, but it's it's cool. So I'm not going. I'll watch. I like the Saturn Awards. It's much more fun to go there and talk to everybody. 5 Dot Toast says AI will eventually be good enough to upscale DVDs directly to 4K. The DVDs will probably need feature-length metadata tracks about exposure time and aperture to feed the AI, but it will work. Price? I have no idea how much that's going to cost. I mean, but it's true of everything. AI will be able to take, because the thing is, what AI will eventually learn to do, like we were talking about, is if you have an image that's only 640 by 480 pixels, and like what 5 Dot Toast was saying, if you could get the scene and take numbers of every shot. You could go back and say, okay, this was shot with this film, it was shot with this lens, and you could literally go through, like, what I would love it to do, the 80s Twilight Zone, for instance. I love the mid-80s Twilight Zone. Again, it was a show that was shot on film and finished on tape. And all the credits and a lot of the special effects were video generated. Horrible. Now, no one's ever going to go back to the negative on that. No one's ever going to go back to the negative. And they never would. I don't even know if the negative's anywhere in existence. It would have to have been stored for the last 50 or 40 years. But what AI will eventually be able to do is look at that image, and it'll even be able to tell, like, what lens, or what did you use, a 30 millimeter, and it will be able to extrapolate and give you an upscale, a 4K upscale. Now, it won't be quote unquote real, but AI will be so good that it will know. I mean, it's just mathematical equations. It'll know, like, okay, there's this much grain pattern or whatever. They use this stock, and you can find that out. Or you can play around with it. You'll have all these tools like, I don't like what it looked like on Fuji stock. What would this look like on Kodak stock? And AI, it'll just be like filters. You'll hit a button. I mean, the stuff that we are able to do, and what's going to be able to be done in the next 10 years, assuming we survive the next 10 years, is going to be absolutely staggering. It's going to be staggering. Now, I am not one of those people that's like, oh, woe is us. I mean, I love art because I love the fact that people made it. But we're going to live in a world where AI is going to be able to do things that we can't even begin to think about. Already I was talking to Elizabeth's father is a doctor. He's 89 years old. He still works, not as a doctor, it's more as a consultant. But even he was telling me that if you're looking at x-rays now, that AI is a way better, if you're looking at an x-ray trying to figure out what's going on, AI can give better diagnoses with more accuracy than a human doctor can. Now, you still want a human doctor there to be able to figure out what's going on. But eventually, every single thing, every human endeavor is going to have some kind of AI assistance. And how are we going to fit into that is going to be the big question. How is humanity going to deal with this technology? And I would like to think that humanity is going to undergo a transformation. Hopefully it's not horribly brutal, but it's going to be transformative, and I hope it's for the better. I mean, it has to be for the better. So, who knows? But yes, the answer is we will eventually be able to get the TV and the news programs and all that stuff. I mean, even like interview shows like Inside the Actor's Studio and stuff like that was shot, these old shows or old sitcoms. Like imagine like All in the Family, these old sitcoms that were shot direct to tape. They will greatly benefit from AI. You'll be able to blow them up to 4K and you'll be able to add film grain. You could tell AI, okay, here's All in the Family, but let's make it look like it was shot with whatever film stock. And it'll give that to you. The problem is, are people then going to come in and change the content? Oh, I don't like that Archie Bunker was such a racist. Let's make him say something different. And eventually the past will be so fluid that that's another thing is like when you can change, you can already go in, people can change the Wikipedia and make it say whatever it wants to say. Where is our history going to be when AI can change everything? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. There's so many implications. But you're done with the news, right?
Yeah, Rob, I was.
Are you done with it?
You
So
were reading super chats.
So 5-Toast, I don't know what the price of something like that is, but it ain't going to be cheap. And as far as Brutalist or Anora, I think probably the Brutalist will win, just because I think that the Anora is not for everybody, but the Brutalist will win. So, yeah.
So are we caught up, Rob?
We are, man. We are caught up.
Okay. Do we still have time?
Yes, absolutely.
Unfortunately, I spoiled Rob at the beginning because I was checking my autofocus, so he already knows the card we will be playing.
But I don't know if it's about that character or about that episode. So who knows?
I need lights. Let me just see what the first question is. What was Janice Wren's assignment on board the Starship Enterprise? What was Janice Wren's assignment on board the Starship Enterprise?
Well, she was the captain's yeoman, but
correct, Rob. Correct. That is correct, Rob.
Oh, okay.
That is correct, Rob. We don't need to go any further. Who banished yeoman Janice Wren's into oblivion? Who banished?
Charlie X.
Correct. Charlie Evans. What did the alien probe that threatened Earth want when Wren served at Starfleet headquarters? What did the alien probe that threatened Earth want when Wren served at Starfleet headquarters?
To talk to the whales.
Correct, Rob. When did Janice Wren serve under the command of Captain Zulu? When did Janice Wren serve under the command of Captain Zulu?
When?
Yeah, that is a strange question, Rob, considering the answer that I read here.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard because, I mean, as we saw in flashback, I'd have to have multiple choices on that because she was serving on the Excelsior under Captain Sulu.
That is correct, Rob. That I let it already. That is correct, Rob. You don't need multiple choice, Rob.
Well, there you go.
US Excelsior. Last one. On which spin-off did actress Grace Lee Whitney return as Janice Wren? On
Voyager.
Which spin-off? Correct, Rob. 5 out of 5, Rob. Unbelievable.
There you go, dude.
5 out of 5. So if we don't have any super chats left, I would like to talk with Rob a little bit more about Companion. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, people, I would say farewell to you now if you want to see the movie without getting anything spoiled. But it is a tough movie to talk about without giving anything away. So if you don't want to hear anything, I would say goodbye to you so that we can doing a little bit more of a deep dive into
by the way,
just an
King Tannic is here and says, Rob, quit giving me dread about the AI future. Well, it's going to change animation forever. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You'll be able to make your own anime. Everybody will. By the way, there is a new episode of the Otaku Experience dropping on this channel at 3 after you can watch the latest episode after this show is over. So it drops at 3. And then Thomas Logan wants me to look at something.
Okay.
Thomas Logan sent a video. What am I supposed to do? Thomas Logan is going into an IMAX theater.
Yeah.
And he is going to see The Brutalist for a second time. Yeah. And I can't download that and put it on the show immediately, Thomas. But he says, Epiphany, there is one Lionsgate film in particular that can really put Lionsgate Limited on the map. It desperately needs a 4K remaster. Show the pic I mailed you, Bobby. Okay, I'm your trained monkey. Let me go to.
You have to jump through hoops with this guy.
I have to go. Yeah, I got to go jump through hoops for Thomas Logan. This better be good. It's good. Okay, I'll Thomas knock this one out of the park. You know what? I'm going to write a letter about this one. That's right.
Okay.
Thomas is right. He is absolutely correct. Let me just put this. I've downloaded the picture. Let me just pull it up. And I like he's cheeky because he gave me a foreign release poster. But that's okay. We can do that. We have the power. So Lionsgate Limited, this is actually a really great. I know they've got a lot of ideas, but I'm going to send this to Lisa. I think this is a great idea, and I want it. And although it's my drives are loading, and that is not a euphemism. So hold on a minute. Well, as I get this, as I'm coming to get it, it's it takes a minute sometimes. I don't know why. Oh, here we go. So this is the movie that Thomas Logan would like to see come out in 4K, and I wholeheartedly concur. The Ninth Gate, everybody.
Ooh.
The Ninth Gate. But I've got that great media book. You got me. The Ninth Gate coming out in 4K. Bring it on. I love this movie so much.
That would be a great title to get.
I would love to see that come out in 4K.
The French poster.
Yeah, the
An
French
EVM
poster.
Porté.
The Ninth Gate. So let's talk about Companion, buddy.
Yeah. The first thing, Rob, when you watched the movie in English, as you did, I heard there was a little bit of German spoken in the movie at one scene. I heard.
Yes.
But since I watched the German dubbing, Rob, we have a problem. We have a problem here at that scene. Not a problem. That scene was in Spanish in the German dubbing.
Really?
You know? Yeah, it was in Spanish. It was the conversation between Iris and the police officer.
Yes.
Just on a side note, in the German dubbing, it was Spanish.
But
funny. I heard on Instagram that Vedder told me there will be a German surprise for me. And I was thinking, okay, I'll watch the movie, see what he meant. And then there came that scene and they spoke Spanish. And I was thinking, they're probably in the English version, they speak Spanish. They speak probably German in that sequence. No. So, Rob, from a marketing perspective, what I would have done, I would have gone into the thing that she's a robot. I would have produced, not shown anything about the movies. I would just have produced clips and said, "Do you want a companion?" And I don't know what the firm was called, Equinox or something like that.
Yeah.
We have a new model for you. Do your link with him. Just a commercial
right.
for Iris, so that you already, you would know she's a cyborg, a robot going into the movie. But I would think it wouldn't hurt the movie that much. You were more on with the people in the mansion, considering how they react to her or how they perceive her. Even if you would already knew that she was already a cyborg, I would just have made, marketing stuff about take your new companion with you. Iris, make a love link. You can do with your app this, that, and
I don't
many different things.
I mean, I know it'd be. I wouldn't have tipped off that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have tipped off that there was that it was a robot. I would have been like,
but it's a tough, really, but we have to say it is a tough movie to market if you want to give that.
Well, you could have shown the mayhem. You could have shown like where you like she's a girl that doesn't like these people very much because they don't like her very much, and they're always giving her a hard time, and like the guy who tries the Greek guy hits on her, and and you make it look like, and then she fights back. And I would,
because for me it was our genre, the R&R genre, but with a sci-fi setting.
Yes.
What more could I ask for?
Yes. And it just, the plot twists are so clever. There's a lot of stuff that and as you realize the world, I like the fact that each little bit of information opens up the world more. So then you as the viewer are going, wait a minute, if this is true, then this is true, and this is true, and it keeps stringing you along.
Yeah.
And it gets bigger and bigger. The implications get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And I thought Jack Quaid, as Josh, he always got the upper hand again. And you was thinking, okay, she's done, turning down her intelligence, and you were always thinking, okay, she needs to come back somehow, to get her revenge. But how? How will she do that now? He was always getting the upper hand again. So it was always a nice back and forth.
Yeah, it was really it was really great. And when reading this, the script was such a fun read.
Yeah.
Because it was so clever. It gets right into it. You're watching this, and it worked. I thought it worked. And remember, when I was reading the script, I didn't know anything about this story at all. Roy Lee did not tell. He just sent me the script. He said, "Read this," and I'm like, So for me, everything was a revelation. Like, oh my God, I just kept turning the pages, and it was. And the movie did a great. Sometimes you read a script, it's really great, but then they don't have the resources, and they don't have the time, and like reading that article today, they said the movie only cost like $10 million. Yeah. They did a great job. I mean, the movie's all up on the screen. It was really well done, because it was the idea that it's set around this house. It was very funny. I asked Roy once when it went into production, I go, one of the big things that they're going to have to, do they have the right house? Like, I'm like, are you going to find, and when I saw the movie, I'm like, oh, they must have been stoked. When I first saw because that was my big question. Like, how is this? Because the movie's basically a one location movie. It's the house, it's the woods, it's a road. And I'm like, how is this? But when I saw the location, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Because that made it you're like, wow, what a cool locale. And it was.
And Sophie Thatcher plays so great, especially if you wouldn't know that it would be nice to go back and she's a robot, considering her mannerisms somehow.
Yeah. You know what I loved about her? They and I don't know if this was intentional on the part of the director. First of all, she doesn't have like a perfect smile. Like, she's got a little bit of a crooked tooth, and sometimes on her, she's absolutely beautiful. And sometimes on her lipstick, it didn't look perfect. It kind of looked like it was
okay.
So it gave her this little. She wasn't like she didn't look like this porcelain doll. She looked she looked real. Like, and it helped me, because the fact that they're making these companions, if they made them totally perfect and they look like, I like the fact that she had flaws. It made her, even in my mind, that's it for me personally. That's what makes a woman more beautiful to me, is like, what I hate now is how everyone gets their teeth done. Like, when they get older, they get veneers put on and they're too perfect, both for men and women. I'm like, I hate that, because teeth, they look unreal. Teeth look unreal. When people smile, I don't mind whitened teeth, but now everybody's getting their teeth fixed, and it's like if teeth are too perfect, people's faces look fake. You'll see somebody smile and you're like, oh, they just got their. But I like the fact that she did that. I mean, it was perfect casting. She was great in Prospect too. She was perfect. She was so good. Great. All the characters were
with the different languages she had to do in Prospect.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was great. And for me, the only thing, Rob, that I could foresee was that the corkscrew would come into play at some point. That was the only thing that I was thinking, okay, that thing will be a weapon at some point in the movie. That was the only thing.
And it was used so well.
So well.
But you know what I really liked about it? Here's the thing. I'm always talking about movies at scale. That we like when you watch Apocalypse Now, it's big and what it is. Yeah. But we used to, when we were growing up, loving movies and going to, like, I used to love what New Line was putting out. Like, you'd go see the movie The Hidden, Jack Shoulder's The Hidden with Kyle MacLachlan. And The Hidden had great car chases. It had great monsters. It was a lot of fun. But, you didn't expect it to be a Rennie Harlan,
More than it was.
And you would go to the theater and see that. And it would be a New Line movie. This reminded me of that. It would be a really satisfying movie that New Line would have put out in like 1995 or even before that, maybe in the late 80s. It was like going to the movies and seeing The Terminator. I equated this movie, it was like when I went and saw RoboCop is a great movie. Paul Verhoeven directed it, but it's not a huge movie. It's still, if you look at it, there's not like 100 cars in a car chase. Yeah. It's still limited in scope. It's got great effects and everything. And it was a whole lot of fun to watch. And we were going to see it because the title RoboCop, it could have been really stupid. It could have, depending on the.
It sounds like a cheap.
Yeah, like a cheap. Yeah, like a director. And so when you went in and saw it, it was a revelation, total surprise. But I already seen his Dutch movies, and I'd seen Flesh and Blood before that, so I knew it was going to be good. But with this, you have a new writer-director, and one of the producers is Zach Krieger, who made Barbarian.
Correct.
Is it Krieger?
And he will do, I think, the new Resident Evil, I heard.
Yes.
From Thomas Logan.
You know what I might have? I might have a script for that.
Shh. Nice.
I might. I'm not saying I do or not. I might have that script for the new Resident Evil. Maybe.
And what was great, Rob, we didn't get a real end credits, but we did get something at the end credits, when she was driving by. And she what?
Yeah, great. No, it was but the movie was just fun. Like it was at scale and everything worked. And it was and what I loved about it was you're watching with Zach Krieger, and I expect the same thing from his movie Weapons. And I heard it was incredible. That the movie is supposed to come out in 2026, but they already have apparently a really great cut of it. It's in really great shape now. So maybe they'll put it out at Halloween or something. But in seeing, and then I told you I read another script that Zach Krieger had written, a science fiction script that I thought was incredible too. And so we now have a new group of young genre filmmakers that it's exciting to see them really coming back and doing this was the training ground where these guys made new original visions, kind of like what John Carpenter was doing in his career. He would write and direct Escape from New York. He was writing and directing these movies, and it reminds me seeing stuff like Barbarian and seeing like this and seeing a lot of what A24 puts out. It gives me hope that we're going to start seeing a lot more. Like these guys aren't just going in and, okay, I made Companion, now I'm going to go direct the new Jurassic World movie. No, they're going to, we're getting, Zach Krieger gave us Barbarian, then he's giving us Weapons. So he's working his way up. And we're getting he's staying a writer-director. He's not just jumping onto a franchise. He's writing and directing original movies. And Companion was an original movie too.
Yeah.
And Zach Krieger is the friend of is his friend, is the director's friend. They're buddies. So to know that they're working together is really neat.
Yeah. And what I wanted to add, no, I forgot my train of thought here with Jack Grate. He is always good in playing that type. Or that's now I remember. Considering spoilers, the movie tells you immediately one spoiler at the beginning that she will kill, him, at one point. So always know already where the movie will be going. And Jack is totally great in. He always can play that great line, being a sympathetic guy and then turning, evil one.
Yeah.
But it was really, really, really nice twists and turns. Just 97 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect genre. I mean, I would call it an elevated B movie. It's not, but it knew what it was, and it was exactly what it wanted to be, and it succeeded, I thought, on every level.
Correct.
And it's hard.
And you made an emotional bond with a robot.
Right. Right. You loved her. If that didn't work, you were totally with her the whole time. And that's the thing. I mean, what's sad though is clearly, nowadays all the problem with people that are marketing movies now is like everything else. They're looking at other marketing campaigns. They're like, okay, this movie is like this movie, so we have to market it this way. That doesn't work. You need people that think out of the box, and I really think that this needed. You know how Smile they would put people at sporting events, and they just have people smiling.
Yeah, something like that. A marketing campaign outside showing anything.
Yeah, it needed an outside the box marketing campaign. It needed what is not being conveyed is, first of all, the word companion could mean a lot of things. So, and I barely saw, like, I had to look to find out when this movie was coming out. Like, I was like, where is Companion? I knew, and it was coming out the end of January. Now, if I have to look, and I go on, I watch every trailer that's out.
Right. We are living in the bubble, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm inside that bubble looking for things and I can't find things, the problem is them. Like, they fucked up. And like, and here's the thing. So, okay, this movie's going to gross $9.5 million. Maybe it'll pick up word of mouth and all that.
I think worldwide, Rob, it is at 15 already.
Okay, 15. This movie should have made $50 million. This movie should have made $50 million. This movie should have been a huge breakout, crowd-pleasing hit, because I can only imagine how much fun this would have been seeing a packed theater on a Friday night watching this movie not knowing what it was.
Yeah.
And it is a damn shame. And it is, first of all, I think the studio, this is something that has value. This movie is valuable. And they have diminished. They took something that was really worth a lot, and by not taking the care and not putting in the time into this movie, they left. Like, look, you look at these direct-to-streaming movies that ended up becoming theatrical releases, like Evil Dead Rise, you know, and movies that were supposed to be streaming movies that they decided to put out in the theater with great. Even Alien Romulus was that. It was going to be the Alien version of Prey, and then they decided cooler heads prevailed. Let's put it on in the theater, and it makes hundreds of millions of dollars. This movie was always meant to be a theatrical feature. You needed people that were behind this movie. The studio should have been behind this movie. There should have been, and Sophie Thatcher, she should have been everywhere talking about this movie. And why is it, let me just bring up this one more time, why is it that I do an Instagram post? I'd come out of the theater and make a very effusive Instagram post. Jack Quaid, the star of this movie, is on somehow somebody told him about my review, and he's retweeting me. Like, okay, what? He doesn't even know me, but am I the first guy to go online and talk about how great Companion was? I mean, the star of the movie found he doesn't know me, found my Instagram page, and it's sad that the actor who stars in this movie, who's great in it, by the way, he's Boimler in Lower Decks. I hope he doesn't find out what I think about modern Star Trek. And he's in The Boys, and I love The Boys. You know, why does he have to find my review? There should be all kinds of reviews for this film. Now, to be fair, they did show it as like the AMC surprise movie. Now, I do want to go. I have a letter to read about this.
Okay, nice.
And let me. I've got to find it. But why does that have to happen? You know, it's. But
I think, Rob, good word of mouth will probably help it in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think, but it's still a bummer. You know, it's still a bummer. That, and even Roy Lee said to me, you know, he said, I told him I wrote that I liked it. He said, I'm glad you liked it. It's a bummer that Warner Brothers Marketing gave away the twist in the second trailer, but it's still a good movie. And I'm like, it is still a good movie, but it deserves to make a lot more money. Now, here is the letter that was sent to me, and it comes from our friend Chris Litinsky. Chris Litinsky is not Linsky, it's Litinsky. It's Chris Litinsky, and he wrote about Feed. He was the guy that wrote about feet. So Chris writes, R&B, I'm watching Prince of Darkness, and for the past hour, I kept wishing that Jack Burton would drive into a scene and run over A.J. Simon. Voila, a new lead character with charisma, thus bringing the Big Trouble in Little China family back together again. Hey, you know what? Come on, man. Meaning Simon, he's Simon and Simon. I agree, but I love Prince of Darkness. Don't diss. And he writes, anyway, this brief letter is dedicated to another topic. I've spent the last 7 days dog sitting 2 tiny sister doggies who bark at everything except me. The doghouse is located very near to a Regal cinema. Taking advantage of my temporary location, I attended the Monday Mystery Movie. This was last Monday, which was Companion. Writer-director Drew Hancock is a true auteur, and his latest tale proves that he is also an imagination connoisseur. The movie had me grinning maniacally all the way through to the end credits. No spoilers. Robert, as Prince de Medias, could you summon Mr. Hancock to take part in one of your shows? I bet he's a great conversationalist. Looking forward to future observations. We survive together, says Section 31. Always, the Maniac Magnet, Chris Latinsky. So there you go.
There you go. You had a great time with it.
He had a great time. So
that's
Chris,
that's a really nice surprise movie. Normally,
by the way, I did forward.
those...
I forwarded that letter to Roy Lee. So Chris, your letter went to Roy Lee.
So normally the blind date surprise movies, are normally the movies that no one will ever see. often.
Well, even so, they put that out as the mystery movie to generate response. You know what they should have done? Yeah. They should have had a big ad campaign, and they used to release, like E.T. got at a public sneak a week before it came out. Back in 1982, they should have promoted this movie, and said that we're gonna have a special come see Companion early before anybody else does and ruins it for you. And made some kind of, I don't know, some special promotion. But it's just sad because they're leaving tens of millions of dollars on the table. And it's stupid. And I think that's the problem with Hollywood, is that they think that that's acceptable.
Okay. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you win, and sometimes it's tough to market a movie.
Yeah.
So, are we coming to an end, Rob? There's a
you mean as a people, as the human species, or do you mean this show?
Perhaps both. We always fear the fall of civilization here on the show.
It is true.
And every week it seems we come closer to it.
So yeah. A World in Pajamas. Tracy says, talking about new tech, I bought a robot lawnmower.
Okay, nice.
When it's finished, it goes.
It's job for you.
Hang on, she says when it's finished, it goes back to its little home to power up.
Correct.
And hang on, what is the super? I have to move over because I was looking at it on the tip link. And what does she say? Because I have to go back. I have to find where we're at. I have all these different windows open. So hang on. What does she say? When I call him Wally. You'd love it. Jose Ataco says, what brand and model are you watching your 4K movies? I have an LG OLED, a 65-inch OLED. If I wasn't so mortgage poor, I would upgrade to like an 83-inch. But I'm running that, and I also have the last Panasonic 65-inch, my Plasma 3D set, which still works. Mine too. It still looks incredible. I calibrated the shit out of that TV.
I can't believe it, Rob, that it still works. I had no problems with this TV at all.
No, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, and the thing is that it's a bummer that Panasonic, like, you couldn't get Panasonic TVs in America anymore because they had adopted Pioneer's Kuro technology, the black technology for plasma, and it looked incredible because I loved Pioneer. Pioneer plasmas ruled, and then they discontinued making plasma sets, and that's why I got that Panasonic, the last one they put out before they discontinued plasma, and then they were making OLED sets. I mean, LG made all the OLED panels, but Panasonic was only selling them in Europe. You know, they're selling there. Well, I don't even know if you can get one here, but LG was making the panels. But I do like and Sony, the Sony Bravia OLED stuff's pretty good too. But you know, now I saw there's like what a 97-inch OLED that's $18,000 or something.
Ooh,
one day, maybe if True Noir sells somewhere, you know, who knows. But
okay,
yeah, that's what I'm running. So we are caught up. I guess we can end our show. Yeah.
So people, go and see Companion. I hope you will have a good time as we did. And I say, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson, Lord Toth, and all the other moderators, and Justin Toner and everybody. I want to thank everybody for generously supporting this channel via super chats and tips. And all of you guys, thanks for being members. It was great. We had a great member call yesterday. I really enjoyed that member call. So thank you to everyone. I will probably, be doing a Robservations tonight. I do not know the status of the John Campea show. You know, I'm supposed to have gone
just
back.
Wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I was supposed to have gone back there. I don't know if I don't know if John's coming back. Obviously, his mom passed away, and so I don't know if maybe it'll be me, Chris Carr, and Jonathan. I'm not sure. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, everybody go see Companion and take some friends, man. Have a few drinks, get high, get baked, whatever. When you get whatever, loosen it up.
Do an Instagram post. Perhaps Jack Quaid will answer you.
Yeah, go out. That's what we should do. That everybody go post to Instagram, tag Jack Quaid, and remember, you know, look. I've never had anyone say this. Jack Quaid says, "I don't know who this man is, but I love him, and I would die for him." So I didn't have Jack Quaid dying for me on my 2025 bingo card, but with the way that this year's going, anything can happen. Woo, woo, woo. And it usually does. Yeah. Hey, nothing happened there. Wait a minute. I mean, what happens if I did this? Where's it? Where's the software? It's not working.
We only did get the balloons, Rob, when you did the sign. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go, Rob.
There we go.
So from me and the G-lister, see you next week.
I guess we have to go now. All right, everybody. Yeah. We will see you in the next video.
Isn't the Super Bowl next week, Rob?
The Super Bowl is next week. Maybe we should postpone or do it Saturday. I don't know. What do you think?
Probably. No problem. Well, we can do it Saturday.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it Saturday. All right, everybody. I guess that ends our stint. And we are off the air. How do I thought we were going to do a really short show today.